Hello and welcome to DCP Live episode number 162. Is there anything? Yeah, just explosions, fireworks.
Almost as exciting as zipping down a zip line.
Ah, yes.
Almost.
Then delivering a huge load of packages to a certain. So this week we got Vince on the show. Hey, Vince.
Hey, everyone. How's it going?
Hello.
Doing good.
How about yourself?
Hey.
How do you?
All right.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Sometimes Briar cuts in and out. It happens. It's a symptom of DCP. How do we pronounce your online name?
Oh, okay. So, yeah, there is no real correct pronunciation of the name, I guess you could say. Most people just say Nferraiu, and the people that usually play with me just call me Vince by my first name.
Okay. Vince
They're like,
is much
forget
easier.
that.
There's no chance I'm able to pronounce this. So, what's your first name?
That's great, man. You were telling us a story how you got that. Actually, I'm curious. Can you retell the tale?
Sure. So, maybe I think it was about 10 or 12 years ago. I think some around that time frame. I think I was 7 or 8 years old. I really enjoy playing video games, and my dad was really into technology and high quality movies. And the first console to ever come out with a Blu-ray player was the PlayStation 3.
Yep.
So my dad knew that I like video games. He wanted to buy a Blu-ray player. It was the perfect option to buy the PlayStation. So we got a PlayStation 3.
It was also really expensive because of the Blu-ray player, right?
I remember it was very
Yeah.
Originally it was a very expensive. He actually bought it on eBay because it was sold out everywhere.
Nice. Yep.
Oh,
So,
geez, he was an early adopter too, huh?
Yeah, so we had the fat PlayStation. It was 60 gigabyte. I think it was 60 gigabytes back then. Fat PlayStation.
60 gigabytes.
I know.
60 gigabytes. That was like the high end model back then.
I remember
60
seeing that
gigs.
back then and being like, "Damn, 60 gigs in a console!
60
Oh,
gigs.
wow,
Yeah.
MP3s you could fit on there.
Yeah.
Amazing.
this is wild."
Didn't it have
Yeah.
a memory card slot?
I think it did have a
Yeah,
memory.
it did. Yeah, it totally
It
did.
actually had the full media integration. They had multiple, I believe, memory card.
You could,
inputs.
yeah. I remember buying the cool see-through ones that were different colors.
Yeah,
Cool.
That was my thing. Was getting
yeah.
coolest
Anyway,
ones.
Because
So-
everything was on a disc, and like you said, the Blu-ray player, what your dad was going for, right?
Right. So yeah, back to the name. My dad's first initial is N, and then the first 7 characters of my last name are Ferraiu, which is my name. And I was actually naive and put my real age in, and I wanted to play multiplayer games. And they actually had a policy on PlayStation where you couldn't play if you were older than 13, I believe it was, online in certain games. So I just used my dad's account when he had made this name, and I stuck with it ever since.
Nice.
Nice.
That's kind of awesome, to
Nice
be honest with you.
tribute.
It is. It's
You
really cool.
have kind of like this account, this like kind of thing that your father created, and you get to kind of stick with it.
Right.
You know, like every time you think about this gamer tag, you'll always be reminded of your father. And that's kind of
Right.
awesome.
It's like a legacy, right?
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
cool.
the father
I
and
like
me
it.
talking.
Briar's being a dad.
Papa Briar, laying it down. How'd you get into streaming, Vince?
So I had originally played in tournaments with Sonic for, I think it was since May of last year. So yeah, May of 2018.
Hype man
this is little Sonic, the PvP, the hype man of the team. And I had never streamed back when we first started playing, but a few other players had always asked me, Vince, you should stream. Vince, you should stream. But I never had a PC where I was able to stream on one computer efficiently without any input lag that would affect my gameplay. Until the 2000 series cards came out, and they actually had a built-in encoder on the card that was very efficient. So I actually used that for a very long time. I would say probably about my first 6 months of streaming, I would say.
So this was just last year then.
So this was just last year. This was yes.
Nice.
So I started streaming, I would say maybe about 6 months ago. Actually,
nice.
consistently. When I realized that I could actually stream on one computer. An input delay, there is some on the 2000 series card if you do use the onboard encoder. I noticed it, but it's not so much that it impacted my performance too heavily. And then it was kind of like a whole problem because I play at 165 hertz at 1440p, and there's no current capture card that can capture that bandwidth. So that was a big problem in order to capture gameplay. So I had to use the onboard encoder, which I ended up kind of getting annoyed with the amount of delay it had. It's definitely still playable, but in tournaments, I definitely noticed my performance is worse when I use it compared to if I don't use the encoder at the time.
So you notice an input delay when you have when you're streaming from the encoder, like it creates input delay from the actual game.
Right.
Interesting. Huh.
Right. So yeah, I do notice a little bit of input lag. It's much better than any other encoder I've used with the 10 series cards, for example. The RTX encoder is great. But
yeah,
yeah,
it really looks good.
Yeah, so it looks great. It comes on board with many graphics cards, even like the budget models. Like you don't need to buy the really high end RTX cards in order to get it. It comes on all RTX cards.
Yeah, like the 1660s also.
Even the 1660s.
Even if you're setting up a 2-stream or 2 PC setup right now, it's kind of the way to go is to just buy an NVIDIA card that has that, right, and use that kind
it's
of
an affordable, reliable option.
Affordable option.
You have to spend a lot on a processor to get the same quality.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
It basically does medium settings, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So the only way to go above that would be to slow settings, and then you're talking about high end desktop like Threadripper or Core X.
Yeah, and
series.
basically, right. What it's doing is it's using the new graphics card, and it just does built-in hardware encoding.
Yeah, NVENC.
NVIDIA encoding new.
Yeah.
Whereas like a lot of people, they're using their CPU processor, and that's what it like kills it. So yeah, maybe now some of your lag is you're still using a little bit of everything, your memory, your CPU, etc. But it sounds like you're still like on the edge in terms of the input lag.
Yeah. Exactly.
Are you still doing that, or did you go with a second PC now?
So I actually did end up going with the second PC, and my current solution is using NDI, the OBS NDI plugin, where I send it through my network basically.
Oh, nice. I haven't tried that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've never tried that either.
Have you had
I have 1440p as well, and I just send it to a 4K capture card, and it captures it.
Yeah, you
captures
need a
it at
4K
60
capture.
FPS, but it captures the 1440p signal, no problem, and I can still play at 165 hertz.
It's really so you can play at 165.
I could play at 165. I mirror that image over to the capture card, and that gets mirrored at 60 FPS.
Right.
But I'm still playing at 165.
That's what I do also for Destiny.
Right.
I play at 240.
Right. Yeah. So I had tried that. I don't know. Maybe you guys will show me after, but I had started getting either input lag or frame stutters. I forget what it was when I tried doing that. Maybe I set it up wrong because I actually have the 4K 60 Pro. I tried doing that, but I couldn't get it to work. But then again, I don't know much about the whole entire setup.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Well.
But right now I'm running on NDI.
Tech talk.
It's working.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's a conversation that's interesting to 7 people in the audience.
Don't talk to streamers about your OBS and capture because we're off the rails. Everybody. This is a Destiny show. So
yeah, actually,
the
descent of the network video. I'm very curious about that. I want to try that.
Can we get into more detail?
Streaming 6 months
because you could then get rid of more wires if you could just do it over network, which is good.
Can't get Teft off the topic. NDI is the new hotness, Teft, for sure.
Nice. I got to check that out. Okay, back to Destiny. Back to Vince and Destiny World. When did you get into the franchise?
So I've been playing Destiny since day one back on PlayStation.
What was your first character?
My first character was a Titan.
Oh, okay.
But
interesting.
I was
interesting.
Interesting. Right. It's funny because now I play Titan. I've been through the whole entire process. First, I made a Titan, then I made a Hunter. I mained Titan in the beginning as it was my only character then. Then I mained Hunter, and then I mained Warlock. And then I came to Destiny 2. I mained Hunter again, and then I mained Warlock, and now I'm back on Titan. So.
Wow. Treacherous waters right there.
Yeah.
I'm assuming in Destiny 1, mainly PvP, right?
Mainly PvP. Yeah, I was very big into the whole sweat scene in Destiny 1 as well. Yeah, so it was, that's really where it all started. And then I first started playing with Sonic in Destiny 2. We were in different clans in Destiny 1, and then he had joined my team in Destiny 2. And we've been teaming for probably about 18 months now.
Nice. So here's a question. Did you play PC games or mouse and keyboard before Destiny 2, or did you make a transition?
Yes. So I actually did play a lot of PUBG prior to coming over to PC. So I was very used to mouse and keyboard. So the switch was very natural when I went over to Destiny 2 on PC. Nice. I also played Overwatch for a little bit. So it wasn't so much as a transfer when I went to Destiny 2 on PC. It wasn't too big of a jump because I was already familiar with mouse and keyboard.
Gotcha.
I would say I probably had about 5 months of experience, I'd say, in mouse and keyboard before Destiny 2 came out.
Nice. That's not a whole lot of time, honestly. Because it can take people.
I definitely learned the fundamentals. Yeah.
What's your optimal DPI in in-game settings then for people wondering about mouse and keyboard?
So I run 4 sensitivity, 800 DPI, and then my modifier is 0.9.
Okay, interesting.
There you go.
I run
Got
400.
that memorized.
I run 400 DPI,
400?
7 in game, 0.9 ADS.
Okay, so
Close.
that's even slower than mine. That's even slower than mine. Yes.
Yeah.
The
I think I
actual-
run 404.
Okay, so that 404. Wow.
Do you
Ultra
really,
old
Briar?
man speed? I think
Wow.
so. I'd have to double
Jeez.
check, but I'm pretty
What?
sure.
How
I
big
got
is the
like
mouse pad?
Browser.
yeah, the whole
you'd have-
desk, man.
Yeah,
It's
you'd
everywhere.
have to keep picking your mouse up for that.
I have a 2 foot by 4 foot mouse, man.
Wow.
It's seriously like I swing it across the entire mouse pad, and it gets me basically 180.
Halfway across the screen.
That is
180.
wild, man. And then
Wow.
Yeah, I like it that way because I can aim. Otherwise, I'm
That's very true. So basically what I was gonna say, like having a lower sensitivity in my experience is really good for your primary shot. But in terms of shotgunning, and like rapid movements when you need to kind of like flick onto people to shotgun them, higher sensitivity is very, very good.
Yeah,
So
there's
I like
trade-offs.
to have the balance. I like to have the balance there. There are some people like Walla, for example. He plays at an extremely high sensitivity and is able to land primary shots while doing it, which is very impressive. But yeah, he's also a shotgunner, so he's very,
it's great. Yeah.
very, definitely the highest sensitivity of anyone on PC right now. And that's
On that topic, do you have a preferred method of figuring out where you land with that stuff, or is it literally just like you keep tuning it till it feels right, or do you do stuff where you're like, no, I spend my time doing this, and that's how I figure it out?
So I used to have a very heavy mouse, the G502, and I played on a pretty high sensitivity. And then I had bought a lightweight mouse after reading that I just did all the hype behind the final mouse. I got a final mouse after I went from the G502, just a lighter mouse. And I was like, okay, so now it's way too fast. People were also saying that like it's better to have more precision if you had a lower sensitivity. So what I ended up doing was incrementally just lowering my sensitivity over time to a point where I was like, okay, this is now detrimental to my shotgun performance, and I'm going to stop here. I always noticed an increase in my primary performance every time I lowered my sensitivity a little bit. But as soon as I saw that I wasn't able to out shotgun people anymore, I stopped and went back to my previous setting.
Nice.
Gotcha.
And how long did that take you for the incremental? Like a month, 2 months?
I would,
Like that?
I would say it probably took me around 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So very fast.
That's pretty fast.
The adaptation.
Pretty
yeah.
fast, yeah. Mhm.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found also going to Destiny PV or Destiny mouse and keyboard that like taking your time, stepping down and seeing how things feel. When you hit a point where it just feels like this is too much or awkward, you can't adjust, then readjust. And then maybe come back to it later on down the road for anybody right now learning to adjust a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
you guys are using a mouse. I'm using a trackpad.
Exactly. You're using
Makes sense.
Google
Makes sense.
glasses.
Google Glass.
Toby,
Got it. I think I got it, guys.
Sounds like something Briar would do, to be honest.
Wow, that's
Damn.
savage.
No, it's just Briar would be like, I got to try my whole VR setup in this whole thing. Let's go.
Okay.
I did do that. I played. I used the PSVR headset in Destiny 1.
I think
That
I remember
was
you talking about that.
Awful.
That was a thing?
Briar.
no.
what?
It
doesn't
wasn't a
work.
thing.
It basically gives you a screen that you can play your video game on, but it's like super low res and it's sitting like 3 feet away from your face. So you have to be like,
Right.
That's
like
awkward.
looking all over the
Yeah.
place. It was crazy hard to play.
NVIDIA actually has a streaming platform basically where it basically streams your game. You can play Destiny 2 on your phone. I tried it, where you can basically stream it, but it is definitely still in beta. I'll say that it's definitely still in beta because it's
Probably.
very, very the input lag from a mobile device being like Destiny 2 being streamed to your cell phone.
Yep.
It's high. It's very high.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
until Stadia and xCloud figured out, they'll be a bit behind.
Yeah. Hopefully Google
went-
has that down. But
Hope so.
And I wanted to clarify. You said what? You're a hunter. What do you normally play for, like your subclass and like your build, like shotgun?
Sure.
Clearly.
I think
so my favorite class in the game is Hunter, Bottom Tree Arc Strider. That's my favorite class in the entire game.
Nice.
That's what I started out playing when I first teamed with Sonic. Sonic and I have had the tournaments have mainly been 3v3, excluding one, and we've had, I think, 3 different third players on our team. We've teamed together for every tournament we've played in. At least I played in with him, and our third player has varied between 3 different people. But I used to play Hunter in the beginning, and then as we got a third that also played Hunter, the way the meta shifted, it became optimal to run 1 Titan and then 2 Hunters, or because you're not allowed to stack 3 of the same class in the current rule set for the competitive scene. So given the certain subclasses, the optimal setup currently is either to run a Warlock or one of each, basically, a Warlock, Titan, and Hunter, or to run 2 hunters and 1 Titan. I think that's the optimal setup right now. So because both of my teammates now play hunter, I was kind of like kicked off of hunter. Not necessarily kicked off. I volunteered saying like I know how to play Titan, so therefore I'll make the switch off of hunter. Whereas
it's very gracious
Sonic
of you.
So Sonic and my other teammate Panda are both really good on hunter. So I said, you guys stay hunter, it's fine. Like I'll get good on Titan over time. And I've had some experience like in quick play with it. So I'm sure like once I practice with it, it'll be really good. And that was back in June, I believe, the beginning of June.
Oh, nice.
So this TWAB today must have been somewhat disappointing for you to read.
Yeah. So the one-eyed mask, I never actually used the one-eyed mask.
Good.
Really?
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, I really like movement exotics. In a sense, I always run Stompies on Hunter, Transversal Steps on Warlock, and Peregrine Greaves on Titan. I really think that agility is really, really key. Just having better shotgun play and even primary play, strafing, sprinting across the map, stuff like that. I always try to build every single one of my characters around having the most dominant neutral game. So in the sense that I will never try to get like extra ability regen or like super regen. I will always spec to have max recovery and then a certain amount of mobility across all of my characters.
Because you want to get back in the fight right away, right?
Exactly. Yes. So that's actually really, really crucial in the sense where if you have max recovery and you're weak, you can hide behind cover and then your teammate can sub in for you and then you can come right back out full health.
Yep.
That's very, very, very powerful.
That's why things like the Worm Husk was so powerful, is because you were just back in the fight immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You were right back in the fight. People would say, oh, he's weak. And then people would push, but oh no, you're full health again. So yes, I did use Worm Husk actually back in year 1 when it was very, very, very good. Yes, it was. That was just too good to give up. Couldn't use Stompies, but yeah. So definitely neutral game is the biggest thing right now. I would say, at least in my perspective.
Got a question. So in terms of movement exotics, would you like to see something like Twilight Garrison get put back into Destiny?
On PC, I honestly don't think Twilight Garrison would have too big of an impact on the player movement. So I definitely think the Peregrine Greaves would be better just in terms of running around the map. Twilight Garrison, I feel like wouldn't have too big of an impact on PC simply because you can turn your mouse so fast, 90 degrees, and then slide immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So behind cover. Whereas if you try to do the dodge, it's pretty much the same exact thing. So
what
I would
much
rather have the.
What if it was like day
slot.
1 Twilight Garrison where you had the double dodge? You'd be like, poof.
I think that would be very powerful if you had the double dodge. It would be very powerful because then you can go around. You can't slide 2 ways quickly.
Right.
So so that would be very powerful if you can have the double glide. Yeah. If it was like with day 1.
Yeah. Just a little daydream for all you Titans out there. Bring back the police chest, right? The officer.
Just want to say, on
The life
record,
preserver?
I hate the Titan shoulder charge. So shame on you.
Fran.
Oh, do you shotgun?
Huh?
Do you use a shotgun or do you snipe?
No, I shotgun.
You shotgun?
I'm just that bad. But like it's
keep
I
telling
just
Fran.
always have to say it every show. Dude,
shoot
Titan's
'em.
still 90 degree out of midair.
That's
like,
true.
With that shoulder charge, man. But
Just
some
aim at
people
their
are like,
chest.
Shut up,
Fran, you're good. Aim at
that's
their
right,
chest with a
just
shotgun.
aim, man. Forehead.
Yeah.
Whatever. You're a Titan main. We've established the good stuff.
Titan main right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your loadout?
Or
right
no,
now,
I meant
then?
Hunter. Oh, I thought you're a Hunter mostly. You switched Titan for now.
Yeah, so Hunter is my favorite class to play, but because of what my teammates
The
play
tournament
and the
stuff.
current rule set, the tournament stuff, yeah, I just use Titan, and that's predominantly what I've only been playing actually for the last 6 months. I would say, yeah, around that time.
What's the go-to loadout for you right now? What's your main kit for being a Titan?
So my main loadout right now, it actually hasn't even changed in Shadowkeep. It stayed pretty much the same for the entirety of the 6 months. I actually really liked Austringer in last meta a lot. I used that even when it was a spare rations meta. I just really liked the gun.
Mm-hmm.
So I used that, Mindbenders, and then I used Peregrine Greaves, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I didn't use an exotic weapon, but I did use the exotic armor is usually always Peregrine Greaves, and currently I use a Thorn and a shotgun.
Quick correction. I think you're talking about Dune Marchers, right? For speed.
I'm sorry, not Peregrine Greaves,
Yeah.
Dune Marchers. Yes,
I get those mixed around all the time
Oh,
too.
that's why
we
I
were
was
just
worried about
we were
that.
just talking about shoulder charge. That's why I was like Peregrine Greaves, but
I get those mixed
That's
around in
what
my
you
head
said
all the time
originally.
as well.
Okay.
So I don't blame you at all.
Doom Marchers.
Yeah.
Doom Marchers.
Doom
yes.
Marchers.
See,
for
I was
speed
out here
and all.
picturing you were just shoulder charging everybody. Okay, that makes more sense.
So that's
I'm
when
sorry.
Fran is like,
I mean,
"Listen,
you
I'm
still can.
traumatized by
You
this.
still can. You still
stuff."
can. Yes.
It's more of the fear that you instill when they see that you're using Peregrine Greaves, so they get
Yeah.
freaked out, and they turn and run away. So you chase them down with the shotgun.
true.
Yeah.
That's actually, I've seen a couple people actually use the new Sentinel change where you can shoulder charge into people to suppress them. People have been doing that. No one's used to that change where a Stormcaller pushes around a corner and then a Titan just comes shoulder charges them out of the super.
Interesting.
That's great. How do you feel about Recluse then in PvP?
I think currently, I'm not sure about the change, but I think that gun is way, way, way above where it should be. Currently, at least, I think it is way, way, way too powerful.
What makes you say that, Vince?
Well, so if someone is like one shot and then I shoot them in the toe, I now have a perk that's comparable to the power of a machine gun, and you can outgun any gun with the Recluse. You can just wipe teams just over and over again just by shooting someone once in the toe. I mean, it's very unfair to the second player on the opposing end. If it's the first person that you're fighting with the Recluse, it's completely fair. However, if you have that perk procs, it's unfair to every other player that you're about to have a gunfight with, just because there's no gun comparable, excluding heavy weapons, to that time to kill.
Yeah,
especially in PvP. I'm not sure in PvE if the crit damage and the body shot damage once you have Master of Arms is equal. I'm pretty sure they're close. But in PvP, the body shot damage with the Recluse with the perk is the same as the headshot damage, which means that you can it does 25 damage, I think, per body shot with the perk, and headshot also, so it's the same, at 900 RPM, which is just ridiculous. It's comparable to a machine gun.
Yeah.
It just instantly melts everything.
I've always noticed that like the tick rate of the game can't keep up with the amount of damage it applies once Master Arms is on. So it feels almost like a shotgun is being applied, because it's like tick, boom, dead.
So a lot of games actually have that problem. People don't realize it though, because if you have a certain tick rate server that's not high enough to match high RPM guns, it happens a lot in Call of Duty, believe it or not, but people don't notice it because the time to kill is so low.
Yeah.
In the sense that if you die in 2 bullets instead of 3 with a really high fire rate gun, you may not notice it, but that does happen. And in a competitive environment, that's a big problem. But,
Call of Duty, I always noticed it because you felt like a guy shot you across the map with 1 bullet.
Right.
And you died. You're like, he shot me with 1 bullet.
Right.
But, on his screen, he unloaded a half a clip into you. But
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about PvP in Shadowkeep right now? Like, I actually maybe take a step back. How much PvE do you play?
How much PvE do I play? I play as much PvE as I need to get the best gear for PvP. I think that's the best.
There's no wrong answer.
You're like 90% PvP then, right?
Yeah, I would say 90% PvP.
Cool.
When Shadowkeep first released, I only played PvE. That was it. Only PvE when Shadowkeep first released, just to get gear.
Yeah.
So I was doing raids, I was doing the story, I was doing all the nightfalls, all that stuff, everything. I still do maybe a nightfall or 2 and a raid or 2 a week. I don't do every single character, but just to kind of get gear, I still do.
You looking for stat builds?
Yes, so I'm trying to max. I'm trying to get a good pair of like Stompy is a good pair of transversive steps and a good pair of Doom Archers. That's like my current goal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Your side hustle in the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Destiny side hustle. Yes.
Yeah.
So with Shadowkeep, how have you perceived the PvP? I don't really want to say changes, because there wasn't like a lot of changes to PvP. Like how has PvP been for you since Shadowkeep?
So yeah, I think change is a completely acceptable word, in the sense that PvP for me at least has changed drastically.
Oh yeah.
Simply because I'm predominantly a hand cannon user, and hand cannons really felt like they've been nerfed into the ground compared to what they were before. Personally, I would love to see always. I know some people might find this a little boring. I would always like to see the precision weapons have the most dominant reward.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that I should have to land headshots in order to get the fastest time to kill. Whereas there are comparable time to kills with guns like pulse rifles, which you can hit a lot of body shots and still kill people across the map.
Right.
In the sense that I'm not sure exactly how to balance scout rifles. Giving them too much range and making them the dominant weapon drastically slows the game down. And that's what before you used to be able to challenge people with pulse rifles and scout rifles, regardless of range with the hand cannon. While yes, I do understand people's arguments saying that pulse rifles should have more range and be more deadly, and same with scout rifles. I agree with scout rifles having more range than hand cannons, but I think that they should only be more effective outside their range, and they shouldn't be as dominant as they are right now, in addition to pulse rifles compared to hand cannons. I think hand cannons requiring the most precision, you should be rewarded with the lowest time to kill. That was true prior to Shadowkeep. I thought it was in a great spot. Scout rifles definitely were not in a great spot prior to Shadowkeep.
Right.
they were really, really poor weapons of choice for sure. But pulse rifles, I think, were great also before Shadowkeep.
Definitely, yeah.
Now they've kind of pushed. If you imagine hand cannons being here, and then pulse rifles here, and then scout rifles all the way out, I think the curve has kind of shifted to the left to the point where now scout rifles are usable, hand cannons really aren't that usable. As a trade-off to making scout rifles usable now.
Interesting.
So I think in order to make scout rifles effective, they basically had to make hand cannons detrimental, and pulse rifles haven't changed that much in their spot. I think they're still great weapons of choice.
I feel like pulse rifles are the balance, like the go-to.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Pulse rifles are definitely
they're always a
right
safe
now.
choice.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like scouts you get punished for being out of range most of the time on the maps because most of the maps are just out of range for scouts. Right.
Right.
Whereas hand cannons, you're getting challenged with special ammo a lot more often now.
Right.
To be effective, right?
Right. So, in the sense that it's really hard to kill people that are pushing you with a hand cannon now, or people that are sitting in the back. It's just the amount of damage that you do at range simply isn't enough with hand cannons, and that discourages people from wanting to push, because if you have a really high time to kill weapon, people don't want to push. What I mean by high time to kill is basically like a scout rifle. They'll be sitting back because they don't want to risk getting shotguns. They'll use a scout rifle, pulse rifle in the back, and like try to pick people off rather than push up. Whereas with the hand cannon had a very low time to kill, and that doesn't have a lot of range, you are now forced to push, but people who are using scout rifles will sit back and get those free kills as long as they're not getting into gunfights.
Yeah.
I'm curious, you having played both Destiny and Destiny 2, it's a 3-weapon game. You know, do you think it could ever survive as a 4-weapon game for PvP? Like, because we go through this where it's like, oh, I should equip my whatever. And you're like, well, I'm not going to go into my menus. And do you think it could ever, like, what would PvP be like if you could just use a scout or a hand cannon and a shotgun, depending on your situation? Do you think that would break the game, or do you think it could evolve to that someday? Or maybe it's like Halo, where you got to put down, you got to throw your outstringer down while you pick something up. I don't know.
Right. I think in the current state, I really like how you have a primary weapon and a special weapon and a heavy weapon. Simply because, at least this is my experience from a tournament perspective, I think that's a great model, simply because I know what other players are using at what distance. I'm able to predict, basically. So if someone's using like a hand cannon and a shotgun, I know how to play against this person. You can accurately predict what another person's doing. Whereas if they have multiple weapons in use, you can't really predict the outcome of a situation, given that you don't know which weapon they have equipped.
Right. They just change their play style in the middle.
They change exactly. They change their play style immediately.
Do I push? Do I stay back? Yeah.
Exactly. And that causes the game to slow down because people become insecure about what exactly the situation is at hand, and then they don't push. They stay back as a result.
Delicate balance. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I think that if you have really low time to kill weapons that reward precision, it increases the pace of gameplay. So that's really why the risk. Yes. I think that's really important.
Yeah, it was kind of the segue though. Like, so what do you think is the solution? You know, if there's people who don't want to just play with hand cannons, as an example, you know, because you like hand cannons. So, like, how would you balance it out to keep everybody happy? Or do you think that people would be happy with, you know, your loadout?
So there are a lot of people that just play Destiny PvP casually, and that's a vast majority of the Destiny in general. That's just the vast majority, the 99 point whatever percent. But this really goes for like any game really now, especially Call of Duty. But we'll talk about this after. The skill-based matchmaking issue in Call of Duty. I'm not sure if you guys have played Modern Warfare, but every game basically in Call of Duty now is everyone trying their absolute hardest, because skill-based matchmaking is very, very, very prominent in that game.
Wow.
The devs have refused to comment on it too, because people have been complaining all over Reddit every single day about it. It has thousands and thousands of upvotes.
No, people are complaining on Reddit.
Yeah, I know. No, yeah.
Shocker.
But,
I don't believe it.
But no, like I actually agree with these complaints for once. So I've just playing a casual game of Call of Duty. I remember like years ago, you can just go in there, have a good time, use whatever you want. No, if you are a good player in Call of Duty, the skill-based matchmaking basically makes it so that there are 2 weapons being used at any given time. That's the M4 and the 725.
That's too
Those
bad.
are the 2 guns. Yeah. So skill-based matchmaking is really, really heavily degrading the game, from my experience at least. And the devs refuse to comment on it. But so the reason I'm bringing this up is because I feel like higher skill players should be rewarded in the same way that if you put a lot of time into a game and you're accurate. For example, if I put a lot of time into the game and I can consistently hit hand cannon headshots, I feel like I should be rewarded. And I feel like currently I'm not rewarded anymore as I was prior to Shadowkeep, because people with pulse rifles are able to compete at ranges that I used to be able to, while hitting much easier shots than I could have been able to hit prior to Shadowkeep. For example, if it was a certain range and I hit all headshots, now that won't kill, but I can get killed from the same distance by hitting all body shots with the pulse rifle.
Right.
So isn't it good that they change it up every once in a while though? Like to me, I get bored if I'm using the Midnight Q for 2 years straight. Like I'm happy. Oh, okay. Midnight Q isn't part of this meta. Pulse rifles are now top of the meta, so I'm going to switch to pulse rifles for a year. Like at least it's a change.
Right.
Maybe it's not a positive change to everybody, but at least it's a change, and the game feels somewhat fresh because of it. As opposed to if they just keep hand cannons at the top of the meta forever, then you're gonna whatever season comes out, you're gonna get the best hand cannon you can get, and then you're playing the same exact game for years on end.
Right. So I definitely agree with that. Exactly. So I feel like having variety is definitely very important. I think that the biggest issue right now is that other guns are dominant in the sense that you can still dominate with certain types of weapons that don't require the same amount of effort or skill, example, to precision shots. I think that if
like
hand cannons, for example, like Recluse, perfect example. Almost anyone can compete with Recluse simply because of how much damage it does after getting a kill. It's stuff like that I think that's really on like a whole other level of just being cheesy. But I think that in the sense of having variety, I would love if we had variety that still promoted fast gameplay rather than slow gameplay, in the sense of having people sitting in the back with scout rifles or pulse rifles. If that's the optimal style of play, I get bored.
Do you think it's as bad right now as it was year one, where it was literally everybody sitting back in the back of the map with scout rifles?
So I remember year one, and I don't think the game will ever reach a point like that ever again. I hope not.
That was pretty bad.
But yes, bad. I remember that.
Yeah.
And honestly, from my perspective, I think Destiny's PvP currently is definitely better than that, but I don't think it's I think it's second to worst currently. Given the currently, yes. But I think that Forsaken's PvP meta with Not Forgotten and Dust Rock Blues, that was my favorite personally. I love that meta so much.
Watts, what do you think of that?
What, Dust Rock and
second to worst in the
current
meta versus
it definitely. So when the changes first happened, it felt pretty good, but then people slip into
the cheesiness,
the stuff that works, right? So in my lobby, I'm facing either people using scouts because they got Randys or they're trying to get Randys, or it's just one-eyed mass Titans with Recluse and Mountaintop, and that's
right. So
there's not a lot of variety at the moment.
Exactly, and that's the perfect.
That's a problem too that I find with PvP is when they use PvP for quests. Like, okay, everybody's got to go in here with scout rifles right now to get this special gun. Yeah. Well, now it's creating a situation in the PvP sandbox that everybody wants to use a scout rifle, right? And it just like it gets monotonous just because of that. And it can last for seasons because
it can, yeah.
I don't like when they force us to use specific weapons for long periods of time. I don't mind like a daily challenge where get 10 kills with a scout rifle because that's in and out quick. But when you have to be in there for days, for hours and hours to get a weapon, it just forces not just you but everybody in the community to be using specific weapons, and it can get real monotonous.
Fighting Lion, for Mountaintop.
Absolutely. And those weapons like Mountaintop and Recluse require little to no skill compared to other precision weapons, maybe like hand cannons and snipers hitting those precision shots, but they are just as rewarding statistically, in the sense that they're so easy to get kills. Why even bother using a precision weapon if you can just use these options?
Yeah.
And I think it was a very, very big change that they're going to be nerfing Recluse. I think it's very, very much needed. Mountaintop, I wouldn't say is necessarily overpowered in PvP. It's more of a nuisance than anything, in the sense of like, oh, I got one shotted by the side. I wasn't even looking there. Now I'm dead.
It's annoying to die too.
Exactly. It kind of enhances the problem of the Recluse in the sense that you Mountaintop someone, pull out the Recluse, and you shoot them once in the toe, and now you have the perk, and you can kill the whole team.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Them working together, it sucks.
Yes.
So I got a question with current meta, and you're saying it's like second worst. So you're not enjoying this meta right now in Shadowkeep for PvP. Is Armor 2.0 part of that? or has it affected it, or is it neutral? Like, how do you feel about Armor 2.0?
I think Armor 2.0 is a good change in the sense that I can use any armor piece I want now statistically in order to put the right perks on it. I don't need to grind the Dreaming City every single week blind well in order to get a piece of gear that I want with enhanced hand cannon loader and shotgun.
Yeah.
Scavenger. I really like the shotgun scavenger, and all scavenger perks are now on one piece of gear. I really like that. What I don't like is how certain scavenger perks I need to have a certain affinity, because that hurts PvP players in a sense where in PvP, you really need those scavenger perks. I think they make a crucial difference. Picking up 2 or 3 shots compared to having no scavenger perks is just so big that it's kind of a pain to have to grind for a different affinity for those perks. So if those perks that affected PvP were universal, I would love it. Like 10 out of 10. Right now, though, I think it's maybe about an 8 out of 10 regarding a PvP standpoint, just because I don't have to do, again, they lessen the grind. I don't think it's perfect in this state just because there are perks that I need to have with certain affinities of armor. But I do think it's definitely a step up from what we used to
What's
have.
interesting is they lessened the grind, but they also increased it, because if you want those perfect stat rolls, you're on a hunt. But
you are on a big hunt.
Yeah.
Possible.
You can get those. You can get those mods to drop. You play enough Nightfalls and all that, you'll get those mods to drop. But like, getting those stats, that's the real mountain to climb.
3 different.
That's the real grind.
Yeah. Like that's very interesting.
Yeah. So the reason I wasn't too affected by that is because in PvP, I don't think those stats in this, not the perks. I think the perks do make a crucial difference regarding like hand cannon, targeting, reloader, scavenger. All of those are very important, but I don't think the stats like mobility, recov, resilience, and intellect, discipline, and strength, I don't think those add up to the importance of the other perks. Recovery, if anything, is the one that does add up to those. Recovery is the one, but it's very easy to maximize one stat currently. I think you don't really need to go gear hunting or grind a lot in order to maximize one stat. For example, like I didn't have to play that much in order to get 100 recovery. And for me to get 6 mobility, which is my preferred mobility just across the characters, just because what I'm used to, there's no real advantage to it. 6 mobility and 100 recovery, I didn't have to grind that much in order to get those stats. So I think from a PvP perspective, it wasn't too brutal.
Yeah, I was gonna say, back to Tef's question, is like, so it's not necessarily the armor. Is it if we get this Recluse nerf, let's say they touch Mountaintop 2, and they give you back your hand cannon range, would that bring it to where you like? What would solve it for you? I feel like we still haven't gotten what's your recommendation?
I think if hand cannon range wasn't touched, if they were in their prior state, if they were in their state prior to Shadowkeep and the other weapons got the bumps that they had, I think it would be perfect.
Interesting.
Because that's not that hard to experiment with.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think if hand cannons weren't buffed, weren't nerfed at all, they were left in their prior state, I think it would have been great. I would not have complained at all. At least, I mean, I can't say what exactly it would have been like because we don't have a test build or anything. It's always hard to exactly predict what would happen. But personally, I think that if hand cannons had stayed in their previous place, I don't think they needed a buff. I don't think they needed a buff prior to Shadowkeep. I think if they had stayed in their current place and guns like scout rifles had gotten a buff, I think that would have put it in a really good spot. People would be more confident in pushing with a hand cannon, knowing that they had range to compete.
True. Back to the scavenger perks. I got a question. Do you think it's too much? Being able to stack like 2 scavengers and get like you said, 4 shots from a brick?
I'm not sure if you can stack scavenger perks anymore using the Armor 2.0 version of scavenger.
If you had
I'm
year
not sure
1,
if it stacks.
Right?
Yes. I'm not sure if does it give you 4 shots currently. I don't use scavenger year 1 gear.
I haven't tested it, so I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but
so I'm not sure if you get 4 shots, but I think 2 or 3 shots is acceptable. The only part where I think that it's a little excessive might be on long range weapons again, like snipers, because it promotes passive gameplay in the sense that I prefer high speed gameplay. So like having a lot of shotgun ammo, for example, you don't always one shot with the shotgun. So like having a lot of ammo, I don't think is too important in the sense that if you get a shotgun kill, you usually do get kills with your shotgun ammo. So having shotgun ammo isn't that big of a necessity, I guess you could say. Simply because when you do one shot someone with a shotgun, you get 3 more bullets.
Yeah, you're picking it up.
A sniper on the other hand, you miss often, and if you missed one of those 3 shots, you can't do anything. It's over. But if you do shotgun someone, you get into a lot more shotgun engagements than you do sniper engagements.
And with a sniper, if you do hit it, the ammo drops halfway across the map.
Exactly. So that's another thing. That's actually a very good point. Simply because when you snipe someone, it's not always certain, especially in tournaments, that you're going to even get that ammo because the teammate might run over that. If they're the ones pushing because they have a shotgun, they might run over it by accident if they didn't hear that your teammate needs it.
Right.
And also, their teammates, the enemy team, might still be alive guarding that same location. You can't just go run and pick it up, otherwise you'll die.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think that system works at all for snipers. Like, I get why it's designed the way it is, but it's like it just doesn't work for that at all. Like, for all the reasons you pointed at, what are the chances you can run all the way over there, change your position, and get a brick of ammo? You're like, why would you even do that? Like, any of the time.
It's kind of rough. Sometimes, sometimes I miss Destiny 1's ammo system with that.
With the crates?
Yeah, the crates.
Which year? Because they changed it in year 3.
The first year. First year with the crates.
First year
special ammo?
I think first year as well.
Yeah.
I really like first and second year. Third year, I did not like so much where you had to go to the crate to pick it up. Did not like that.
You didn't have to go anywhere. You just threw a grenade at everybody.
That's true. You go through that.
True. Sticky nades.
Oh, God. Double stickies.
Oh, my God.
Third year at Destiny 1 broke my heart.
Yeah.
It broke me.
It did, yeah. I remember being genuinely super sad that I was like, so we're leaving Destiny 1 in this state? Like
sidearms and sticky nades?
This is where we're leaving
an
it?
icebreaker?
Maybe that's why they didn't leave trials up.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. So I got a question.
I'm sorry, real quick.
No, go for it.
The solution to that is to play Destiny 1 on an Xbox 360 or
Yeah,
PS3.
the 360, yep.
Because it's actually still in the pre-res
iron.
It's in the year 2.
Oh, yes.
It's in the year 2 meta.
Yeah.
Because it didn't get year 3.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
So in terms of tourneys in the competitive scene, what is going on right now with the scene? And like, I guess this ties into Shadowkeep as well with the changes that have happened to PvP and Armor 2.0 system and all that. Like, how has the competitive scene and the tourneys adapted, or in the currently adapting? Like, can you shed some light on that?
Sure. So a new system was actually just implemented. There's this organizer named Big H who has put a lot out of voluntarily put a lot of work into enhancing the competitive scene. And he actually developed a platform for Destiny using Faceit. I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of Faceit, the competitive organizer. They host a lot of CS:GO tournaments, a league of their own. So basically, you can join the Faceit platform, and then you can just queue up, and it uses the competitive rule set. And you vote on which map you want to play in the competitive rule set. The rules are all listed there, what you can and can't use, based on just the current rules that are available. And then it just basically, you have 2 team captains, and then they pick from the remaining 4 players, and it's 3v3. And then you host a match, and then you report the score at the end, a private match. And there's a whole ladder.
Nice.
Basically a league going on right now. And the current plan is to have the top 8 players or the top 8 teams, when teams eventually get implemented into this platform, be invited to a big tournament. So that's
nice.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's current.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It's really fun right now in the sense that you can just get pick up tournament scrims going whenever. People are always playing, so you just click play on the Faceit app, and then you're automatically put into a queue, and then other players are just there. And then they randomly choose as two captains if everyone is the same skill level. If there are differing skill levels queuing, the people with the highest skill level currently will be captain.
Nice.
And that's that's the current stage.
Has Armor 2.0 or anything affected the competitive side, or is it just use whatever?
It's basically just use whatever. I think currently Armor 2.0 is not too much of a factor in determining the rule set. I believe that.
How about the artifact?
So the artifact was you're not allowed to use the last column on the artifact in the sense of the one-shot melee, arc battery, stuff like that. Basically, the way we currently have the rule set is we have a lot of tournament experience prior to Shadowkeep, and we basically analyze all the new changes that have been made, and then we say, okay, do we think that this could have a negative experience on competitive play? Does it slow the game down drastically? Does it make it less entertaining to play and watch? And the people that choose this are basically the people that have a lot of good tournament placement over the last 2 years. Those are the people that usually vote on this stuff. Just the people who have the most experience.
I'm glad to hear that people are considering watch. That making it entertaining to watch, because I find that a lot of times you read rule sets and I'm like, well, this looks like it's really entertaining to play, but it's going to be super boring to watch because they've taken away all the stuff that makes Destiny feel like Destiny. I remember watching Call of Duty tournaments back in the day, and they banned all kill streaks.
Right.
Like, well, that's a real strategic part of Call of Duty, and it's one of the biggest like fan moments. Somebody drops in like a huge kill streak, and like it's a game changer, and like the crowd goes nuts. How can you get rid of that? To see Destiny. See a Destiny tournament thinking about how entertaining is it to watch, I think is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So a big factor in determining how fun it is to watch is how fast the gameplay is. So certain strategies really slow down the gameplay, or if it makes it too one-sided. For example, having multiple of the same super. If people stacked a really overpowered super, it wouldn't be allowed. For example, Dawnblade in the last meta was unkillable. In the good players' hands, it was almost impossible to stop a Dawnblade because a headshot wouldn't kill it prior to Shadowkeep. And same with Bottom Tree Striker. It was very, very hard to kill. So that's actually a great change I love with Shadowkeep regarding PvP. Is being able to one-shot supers.
That's a big moment when that happens.
Yeah.
People go nuts. You headshot a guy out of a super in a big moment, and it's a big deal.
Yeah. Yes, that's that never happened prior to Shadowkeep. Yes, but there's a lot of times now when the games are we play up to, it's usually Clash up to a score of 50, and it's been 47, 47, 49, 49, and then it's like someone pushes with the super, and then if you snipe that super, that actually happened recently, like a few days ago actually, and then it was just amazing. It's a great feeling when you snipe someone out of their super, right? And you can even shotgun melee them now. But I think that's really only on Striker. I think I've been able to do that simply just because I play Bottom Tree Striker, and when you proc knockout, you do more melee damage.
Right.
I think it would be great if every class could shotgun melee a super. Right now, it gets them very, very close, but I think currently Striker's the only one who's actually able to do it.
Interesting. Weird that that's
I do want to talk a little bit of the TWAB today because we got some pretty significant, frankly, highly requested
big
changes.
News. Right. Not that much.
Big news, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't
Definitely
a big TWAB, but it was definitely hot topics.
Impactful.
Hot topics.
Hot topic,
Make me think of Holtzman.
I got Holtzman on the mind. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. So Recluse is finally getting a nerf. Well, this is a second nerf technically for Recluse, right?
Is it? Did it? The
No,
first
it's
one?
never been touched before.
No,
It's never been touched
You're
before?
thinking one I
Okay.
masked.
Maybe you're thinking something they did with SMG.
Yeah, when I masked, they did nerf before, which didn't change anything.
Didn't do much. Right.
So the Recluse, they're changing the effects of Master of Arms. They're removing the precision damage modifier, and the Recluse will continue to receive a damage bonus from Master of Arms, but damage will not default to precision values when the perk activates.
I think that's very big. I think it's pretty vague the way they're stating it in the TWAB, in the sense that we don't know what the damage will be. But like I said before, your body shot damage with Recluse during Master of Arms was the same exact as your headshot damage, which was 25, with a 900 RPM gun. So you could just hip fire and kill anyone in like 0.3 seconds, 0.5. I don't know what the exact statistic is, but it was a crazy time to kill, comparable to any other weapon in the game.
So this would indicate that it's gonna, if you're super accurate and you hit people in the face, then you'll still kill them really quick. But body shots are going to have a slower time to kill.
Right. So
even with Master of Arms procced.
Right. So I think that's a good change in the sense that if you hit all headshots with the Recluse and you have the perk, I think you should be rewarded with that time to kill. I don't think anyone ever goes for headshots with Recluse right now, simply because there's no reason to. There's zero incentive once you have Master of Arms.
That's the benefit of using it, is that you can spray people down.
Yeah.
Right. I think that currently it's just way, way, way too powerful in the sense that it can't be shut down by any other gun in the game up close at all. But yeah, I think that hopefully this number is more in line with other guns in the sense of time to kill up close. I think it should be better than other guns, but not to the point where in the sense that it's literally impossible to outgun someone who's using it just because of the time to kill of an LMG.
I know this isn't going to be popular, but if they nerf this thing into the ground, it's not going to upset me. Like, it's had its day in the sun.
No, I definitely agree. In the sense
if I never use this or see it used again, I'll be like, okay, whatever. Like, I know PvE people will get really pissed about it, but
you think so? I feel like a lot of people have been asking for variety in PvE. It's this gun alone, not even just the mountaintop. The mountaintop, not so much, but the Recluse alone has dominated PvE for
it has
PvE and PvP.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's
like
the
9
best
months.
gun. It's the
Very long.
go-to for a period of 9 months. It is the go-to. I mean, I'd be happy to see change.
Yeah.
There are so many other guns
For
that
every
are-
activity.
Exactly, for every activity, for Destiny in general, not just PvP. There are so many other guns that are in line with each other, and then Recluse is just in a league of its own above.
Yep.
And I think if it was taken down, it would increase variety across the board because there'd be so many other options at this level.
Yep. I agree. With that.
One-eyed mask is also getting touched. They're changing
Yeah.
the effects of vengeance. Remove the overshield granted from defeating an opponent that inflicted damage on you. So you're keeping the wall hack.
Yeah.
You're keeping wall hack, health regen, and damage boost,
I mean, at least
which is a lot.
you don't have
Yeah.
a free
Pretty good.
overshield, honestly.
Yeah, the overshield was incredibly annoying to deal with because someone
Right.
would just die and then they're just sitting there with an overshield forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really annoying. So
This
we'll see.
seems like they're being careful about nerfing this too much. Like they still want this to be good, it seems like.
Apparently.
I don't know why.
Yeah, why? Don't you guys think the wall hack should have just gone? It's like
good.
it's funny because it's the name of it implies like
I don't want wall hacks in PvP at all.
right?
Like, I don't want them on any class with any exotic.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good perk to have, personally. I don't think seeing people through walls is very good.
Yeah.
It's just that it's very difficult, I feel like, regarding communication with Bungie. I really hope this does improve because they're going to have a renewed focus on PvP this year. The one-eye mask has been very, very powerful in the sense that you can see people through walls. When you kill someone, not only do you get all your health back, you also get an overshield on top of that. So it's almost impossible for the second person. It's like it's just a continuous steamroll on the same level of Recluse, where it's like you don't do much, and the benefit that you gain in order from doing so little is just completely unreasonable compared to every other option in the game. So
Yeah,
I'm really glad that it's getting nerfed.
Going
I'm not upset at all.
against one-eye mask is literally being punished for shooting them.
Exactly.
Like,
Even
So-
looking at them, you're
you're-
punished because you saw
like,
them.
I shot you in the toe.
Exactly.
Suddenly, I'm being taxed for existing on the same instance with you. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely. I'm not upset that it's leaving at all. Or it's getting toned down at all.
Yeah, I would like to see actual wall hacks get taken out of PvP. I don't.
Yes. And it's like spectral blades. For
Yeah,
example.
That's just so dumb.
There.
Yeah, I think that's very. That's actually not allowed
True
in the
sight.
current tournament size. You're not allowed to use precision-based weapons with true sight. So in the sense that it's not too big of a problem because sniping with true sight it's very, very unfair. It's also just unfun to play against the sense that how are you supposed to know that someone was invisible around the corner because you don't show up on radar if they're invis.
Right.
And they can
right.
see you through the wall. You don't even you have no notion that they're even close to you because they're invisible. They don't show up on the radar. So you can just watch a corner and you see the entire silhouette of their body.
Yeah.
I think if Bungie was very adamant on not taking wall hacks out, I think it would be better if it pulsed every 1 or 2 seconds rather than having a complete outline 24/7 moving across the screen, kind of like a UAV in Call of Duty, in the sense that it pings every now and then, but it doesn't have a constant motion of a player. You constantly know the entire like where a player is moving. The update rate is very, very frequent. If they lowered that to a sense where you couldn't tell exactly where they were, but you knew where they were a few seconds ago, I think it'd be perfectly fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else in the twab?
Xenophage is getting touched on.
Yeah, this is big.
This is
they're
going to be really
increasing-
fun.
They're increasing the PvE damage by 50%, which is a big jump.
That's a big
ammo
jump.
The big
Pulled
fat
from
buff.
PvP crates has been increased to 4 out of 6 from 3 out of 4 from shared and solo heavy ammo crates, respectively.
Yeah,
It's
it's
been increased 4 to 6 from 3 to 4. So 6 would be the max ammo you could carry, and you get 4 out of each crate. Is that what I'm reading there? As opposed to
Yes.
4 being the max you could carry and 3 being what you get out of a crate?
maybe.
Maybe.
The max you
It's a
can
weird
carry
sentence.
is like 12 or something.
So what am I reading there?
Yeah, I was
Oh,
wondering.
maybe if you have armor buffs, you can get up to 6.
I was like, is that like your total capacity? If you have like, if you can pull extra out, I don't. Like, yeah,
Maybe.
you find if you have extra ammo finder type stuff on. Maybe
Maybe that's what it
saying.
is. That makes sense.
They need to describe this stuff in the like. I know that this is an update for fans, but like sometimes the terminology they use, like we're all like, wait,
It'd be very vague.
what? Like just even if you have to in parentheses after say this is what this means, like it would help everybody. I think.
Yeah. 50%.
Also, please link to the roadmap in every update.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was just- I would
'cause
love.
I'm
Oh,
always
yeah,
Googling
totally.
it, and
Every
I'm like, Shadow
update.
Keep roadmap. Where
When's
is
the
it? What
last
does it
time
mean?
they showed the roadmap? I gotta find the roadmap.
I gotta
Oh,
go on
nice.
Even
Google.
if you're not sure of it, I think it should just like be right at the top. Here's the latest roadmap.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, that's personal.
So
Personal
50%
pet peeve.
increased damage in PvE. Do you think that's going to be
That is
enough?
very exciting because this gun. So when we got it, I was playing with Dimitri and Alola, and sorry, Aloha.
Aloha.
My bad. My
Canadian
bad.
Get it
Aloha.
right.
My bad. My
Get
bad.
it right.
And so we did the quest together. We all got the gun, and then we went into the haunted forest, and we were using it, and it was so fun to be able to just use it the whole time. Because in the haunted forest, you have heavy ammo all the time.
Right.
And it was doing pretty good work with all three of us using it on the bosses. So I know it's been underwhelming in general, but I'm really excited to have this buff because it's just a fun gun to use. It feels really fun. It's fun to shoot. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So I'm looking
And-
forward to having it actually be good.
Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet because I remember asking you guys that first week and I was busy and you're like, it's cool, but it
It's
needs
fun.
the adjustments. Shutbot, it's not powerful enough and you run out of ammo. That's what I vividly remember. And so it sounds like they're touching, the power quite a bit. Do you think it's going to be enough ammo increase based on the
I don't
many
know,
numbers
honestly.
they've presented? 4,
Because,
6,
like,
3,
Yeah,
4,
I'm not
felt-
sure.
1, 0,
I
0,
don't
1, 1,
truly
9.
know what it means.
I felt like-
uh,
I felt like the gun needed 20 in reserve and only has like 12 or 13, which is very disappointing when you have
Yeah, you think it needs
Thunderlord.
more total.
Yeah, because you have like Thunderlord, you have Thunderlord. Thunderlord is the main computer. the main competition for a heavy machine gun. Yes, it's going to do more damage.
But Hammerhead is good. And
Yeah, exactly. Then you have the legendaries you have to deal with. So I don't know, honestly. I feel like they're cautious.
Yeah, that's why I bring it up because they say that it's the amount you pull. They're not increasing the magazine size, right? I didn't read that.
Yeah, but they're
anywhere.
also giving each shot a 50% damage buff.
Yeah, but it was pretty underwhelming initially in
But-
just regular
right.
PvE.
Yeah.
So like it feels like maybe you'll still be short on it. But yeah, I mean we won't know till we use it. But I'm excited to go get it now. So every bullet is like explosive, right? That's the whole deal.
Mhm.
yeah, it does like an AoE thing, and it can like kind of knock them off. Like knock
it
them
staggers
from
on
as
top
well.
of it as
A
well.
little bit of a stagger. Not as much as like the bow, because that's what the bow is meant to do. But you have like this bit of a blast radius that will flinch everyone around it.
Yeah.
What was that
PvE.
exotic
Oh, yeah, no,
sniper
that means-
rifle in Destiny 1 that shot explosive rounds?
They made the mega bullet when you got 4 crits.
Explosive?
Yeah, the mega
Oh.
bullet.
Meteor
Yeah.
or something.
Wait, are you talking about the scout rifle?
Zen Meteor?
Zen
Meteor.
Meteor.
Zen
Yeah,
Meteor.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God.
Wow, I forgot. about Zen
Dynamite
Meteor.
with a laser beam.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I thought you were talking about Polaris Lance for a second or whatever. I was gonna ask. I just lost it. Never mind. That's right on tip of my tongue. It's about Xenophage, but oh well, it'll come back to me.
Anything
One
else? TWAB specific?
Eventually.
That was the big news.
Yeah. It was a small, concise, game-related info.
Recluse, one-eye mask.
Yeah.
Oh,
Things are happening.
I know what it was. You guys had mentioned that it's not a crit based.
Yeah, you can't crit.
hit because of the explosion. Like, do you think that's even a necessity, or this damage output of 50% might kind of solve that need for it?
this-
But
this
you're
is-
still not getting any crits, even if you shoot.
Yeah, this
like,
is one of these
crit spots.
things where when they say 50% increased damage, I'm always like, yeah, let's see how that actually translates, because does that mean literally everything is getting increased 50%, or is it just the impact and the explosions aren't getting increased 50%, or is it the
Right.
explosions
Yeah,
but
probably.
not the impact? You know what I mean?
I think I
Sure.
interpreted it as it would be the base would get a 50% increase. I feel like they would have. I hope that they would have expressed.
It's true
it
though.
with
It's
an
not
explosion.
explained. What if it's the total effect of everything?
That's true.
By the time it's done, is a total.
That's always why I'm
Yes.
like, okay, we'll see how 50% feels in there for PvE damage, because when I
Yeah.
shot it before, I was like, this, for the amount of ammo you have, it's very underwhelming.
These all three of these changes seem to be small tweaks as opposed to like massive reworks, right? Which is something I think that is good to see as a Destiny fan. We've seen in the past that when they make a change, it'll be like a huge change, and you never see the hide nor tail of that weapon ever again. And everything here seems to be little tweak,
Mhm.
little tweak,
Yep. Safe
Sure.
tweaks.
safe tweaks.
Yeah. What a twab. My God.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some much needed stuff that's happening, which is
I mean, yeah,
good.
that Recluse nerf was great. that
Yeah.
summarized the whole entire peak of my happiness from the 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steps in the right direction.
You guys want to do some Twitter questions?
Oh, hold up. Before you say that,
77?
the Festival of Lost is ending next week. So if you haven't done,
this is the last week.
Yeah, if you haven't done the things you want to do in Festival of Lost, like if you want to get the werewolf a certain role or something like that, if you want to go gallivant through the forest and kill bosses, make sure to get that done before Tuesday. Otherwise, it's going away.
Yeah, what is exclusive then? Is there anything tied to the title? Probably not, right? Like you don't have to do anything there, right? In other
I know
words,
there's
like,
a
if you get the
secret
werewolf,
triumph that you can get this week. So if you care about triumph score at all, you might want to hop on and do that.
Boy,
about
do
it.
I
Sounds like
ever.
that, the werewolf, the masks, and like pinnacles, just getting pinnacles out of it.
Yeah, there's pinnacles too.
So,
Also Eververse if you want to
plus
spend
twos.
some dust.
there you go.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely look to spend your dust.
All right. Question time.
All right. Be
Let's do
My
it.
Minion says, as streamers, are you guys becoming paranoid by potentially saying the wrong thing on stream and being destroyed by cancel culture?
I'm
It's just part of what you do in general, and nothing's changed, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not really spouting anything questionable, so I don't worry about those
Yeah.
things, you know?
Yeah, there's nothing that like I wouldn't say something because in my everyday, day-to-day life, I don't say things that are super offensive, like the real bad stuff. Do not say any of that. So me just happening to say that wouldn't really happen because I don't say those things in general. I think people are getting more sensitive to things that I wouldn't expect to be offensive.
Mhm.
Which takes me by surprise, and I'm like, oh, I can't say crazy anymore. Can't say someone's
Oh, you
crazy.
can't? That one's new to
Some
me,
people get
actually.
offended by crazy. See, this
Damn,
is the
that's
thing,
crazy,
right?
man.
Like that kind of stuff. I might offend someone by saying this person's crazy. Tefty's crazy.
Right.
Fact.
So yeah, those things.
I
where I'm
spent
like,
9 hours
I'm-
building roads and zip lines. I'm crazy.
I mean, also same. But so those things where it's like I don't think of these things as offensive, but now they're starting to become offensive to people. That might happen. But yeah, things where it's like someone's gonna cancel me over. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it really all depends on your audience, right? In the
That's
sense
what I
that
was
if you
gonna
have if you have a certain audience that is like used to hearing like certain types of language, if you have like a more broad audience, of course you have to kind of be more in the middle in the sense that you can't really lean towards one side. Like you can't go too far, right? There's a limit. If you have a very general audience, you can't like go overboard. Like some audience, for example, no cursing. It depends who your audience is. Some people are used to saying a certain their boundary lines vary, right? So I think it really is audience dependent. The PvP audience, for example, personally, I think their boundary line is pretty excessive. It's just that it's just the PvP audience in general. It's because it's very heated. But yeah, I mean, I never say anything that I think is too bad. But then again, it's relative, right? It's relative to what you think exactly is crossing the line, or like what is bad. It definitely, Watch, I think you're right. It definitely has gotten to a point where like some people are like, wow, you can't say crazy anymore. Yeah.
That is literally the first I've heard of that.
Right.
Or
I-
like you can't
I've
say
heard it
guys.
before.
You can't say hey guys without offending gender.
You
and all
can't
that.
say hey guys. You
Yeah.
can't call Zavala a bitch, Brian.
Come on now, Brian.
You can't?
Unacceptable. No.
I
But-
never would, but yeah, the boomer stuff, exactly. Like somebody brought that up. I'm like, it's I think, Vince, you said it best. It's like you should be aware of your audience and open to it and try not to be defensive. Like that's my strategy. It's like I have had people show up and they'll actually sort of it feels like they're reprimanding me for making this mistake, and I'm like, I personally don't have an issue with this word. I know much of the audience
Exactly.
doesn't, but my response, I try to take that second and you say, all right, cool. I totally understand. No worries. Or if you are going to use it, you just say it nicely. You're like, hey, we do use that word here. I'm sorry if it offended you. Thank you for letting me know. And you move on.
That's
It's the way to
that's
treat
definitely-
each other.
exactly.
I
That's
have a
definitely-
slightly different outlook on this because since I was a child, many words that we used all the time are now very distinctly you cannot say anymore. And the one that I'll remember the most distinctly for my entire life is gay, is watching a commercial with Wanda Sykes on TV where she said, look, here, I'm going to lay this out for you. You're using a word that we use to describe ourselves to insult other people, and that's demeaning to us. And, I was like, oh shit, you're right. Like, so from that point on, like, I've realized that is the case. And so whenever somebody claims that word as something that describes them and they take it off the table for being an insult, I totally get it. Right. But in that back of my brain, in that lizard brain that was trained when I was 6 years old in a playground, when we didn't know any better, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes
you can't say lizard brain. Sorry.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Really crossed a line here, Briar. I'm gonna need a
insult
statement.
The lizard people.
Need a statement, an apology, and a series of videos and all that.
But like, so some of those things, some of those words that we used to use when we were kids are, they're still in there and they're buried in there, and I got to think not to say them still. And that's a shortcoming on my part, but it's going to continue happening, right? Is like, if crazy is one of those words now, so be it. I won't use that word anymore because somebody's going to be offended by it. But at some point too, do we got to call like a cutoff line? Like, wait a minute, that one's too general.
Yeah,
I think it depends on the audience.
Like, I'm probably going to still say, hey guys, because like, I like saying it. I like it when people say it to me because it sounds inviting. It sounds friendly. It sounds warm and welcoming. Yeah. So at that point, it's like I'm not going up to you and being like, "Hello, dude, man."
Hello,
man.
Hello.
We were talking on my stream how instead I'm going to say, "Hey, idiots." What's up, fellow idiots?
Yeah. As an idiot, I take offense to that.
No, you should join me in being an idiot.
Oh man.
I mean, again, I think. Yeah, there's certain degrees, as you're saying, of the types of things you're saying and the impact they have. Like there's legit like slurs and stuff like you're getting at that we would say, and we didn't even realize it till later. And at first you would argue like, I don't mean it that way. And it's like, well, it's meant that way for a lot of people. And then there's words like
sometimes context doesn't matter, right?
Yeah,
sometimes context does matter. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Like if you're to spout off, no matter how funny the joke is, if you use the N-word, context doesn't matter. You just can't say that word.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then there's words like crazy. And I would just to finish the topic, I think it's like, I think that's the kind where you talk to your audience and say, look, is this bothering a lot of people? And if it's more than a few, or if you're the type of person that if it even just bothers one, you say, look, this stream, I'm not going to say anymore. It's up to you. But like, I do think there is a
you got to draw a line though.
We all are, there's a reason this question's coming up.
Yeah.
The cancel culture is starting to become, I feel like it's a problem. People are fearful in tweeting like something simple sometimes.
But
you got to be respectful.
A lot of it's rooted.
Difference there.
A lot of it's rooted though, and a lot of those people are coming out as pretty racist and bigoted. And if you're a racist bigot, then you should get canceled. I'm sorry, people shouldn't listen to your views.
Those people.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that makes sense.
Those guys.
It's like
a line. It's relative, right? So because it's relative, your streaming platform community, your streaming platform's employees have to draw the line for everyone. So for example, Twitch's TOS draws that line and they determine whether or not you've crossed it.
Yeah.
From there on out, every streamer's platform is completely relative to how they want to behave. If someone's not okay with it, I think that's all right. Just go to watch a different stream then. Because if I say something that's within my streaming platform's boundaries, I shouldn't be penalized and have to change for it. However, if I can just say it's fine. Sorry, I don't like that here. If I really do understand the person saying like that is insulting like that, then fine. Okay, I won't say it anymore. But if I think it's really too general and it's within TOS, I'm not going to change my behavior. That's just my channel, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to change my behavior around someone else's opinion if I'm following the rules.
Here's my question though: are people identifying as crazy? Like, isn't crazy always supposed to be an insult? Wasn't it?
I think the problem. I think the problem that people are finding is that crazy is implying that someone is mentally ill, and they think that it's you disrespecting people with mental illness. Is where I think they're coming from with it.
No,
That's clearly where that'd be the offensive context. And there's the other side. I was just like, dude, I'm crazy about your new hairdo, Watts, and like that.
Offended.
There's a difference. Well, but it's true. But it still might offend someone still because it means you're not thinking rationally. I don't know, but I think to Watts, like that. I don't know if you're joking or not, Brian.
My new haircut,
but that's crazy about your new haircut. But no, but seriously, like Briar, it is clearly like that's the side where it's coming from. Yeah.
So
again, you got to decide if that you even implied that or not. So
Yeah.
it is tough for being.
I think it's a gray area, right? Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Yeah, it is tough for being on Twitter, on streams now, and day by day, it definitely, I would say, it gets harder. But I think we're all, if our goal is, to treat each other respectfully and have an open, constructive discussion like that, meaning nobody should get in trouble for using one of those words innocently, right? It's like if we can talk to each other and learn and be like, okay, I see, all right, instead of the
So is it okay to call Zavala a bitch or not?
Meaning, maybe to be more forward about it.
Yes.
Zavala's a bitch.
Yeah, to be more forward about it, sometimes the people who are trying to get you not to use the word say it to you in such a mean and ugly way that's almost worse than innocently making the mistake of oops, I shouldn't have said that. That culture of you're wrong, how dare you, is I think where we all have the trouble with it.
Yeah,
it's if you just told me nicely, I wouldn't even have this reaction. I'd be like, oh, okay. Instead you're like, you're an idiot. How dare you? So I hope that's the culture that we can get past, is treating each other like crap to try to teach them a lesson or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Topher says, do you guys believe that a massive rework for the Crucible is required to happen sometime down the road if Bungie wants to keep good on their renewed focus on PvP promise?
They said they were working on it, right?
Yeah, but they didn't say to expect it during this year, right? It's during Shadowkeep.
They said they're working on dedicated servers?
No, they said they're working on
rebuilding the foundation.
Rebuilding the foundation. Yeah.
So I think that Bungie's very vague language since release of Destiny 1 is a big problem, especially for the PvP scene, considering that we didn't get an update for almost a year straight, I think it was. Not a single significant change. Addition of maps, there's no new content. And the fact that there wasn't any communication throughout that entire time frame was a very big problem. I think
I'm shocked that there's a dedicated PvP community in this game.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
that's understandable.
Bungie has given you nothing to go on.
Exactly. That's very true. That's very true. It's very self-sustained. It's actually, I would say it's
started
completely
to feed you stuff in Destiny 1 and it looked real promising. And in Destiny 2, they just completely ignored you guys. And I think it's a real goddamn shame.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there has to be people working there that are making these changes, and I'm not sure what's going on, to be honest, because I don't work there. But these people just need to be more open about communication. I'm not sure if the higher ups don't allow them to communicate the changes they're about to make. I'm not sure if they don't want to communicate them because they're afraid of the backlash that may ensue if they aren't able to live up to them. There's so many what ifs that the PvP community has been guessing for the last year. It would just be nice to have some sort of communication back and forth. We saw that recently after Shadowkeep. The changes were made so quickly, just to competitive in the sense that, okay, we changed heavy ammo quickly. That was within, I think, 1 or 2 weeks. And the fact that we didn't get an update from 1 year, that just made me so happy in the sense that 1 week after release, they were already on top of it. I think if that communication, even once a month, I would be happy with, is just communication once a month about the PvP side of things, where Bungie is headed, the feedback that they've gotten, what they're thinking to do based on the feedback that they've gotten. I think that would be great. I would be so happy about that. I just don't want to play the guessing game anymore. That's it.
Just communication would be great.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I'd like to see them commit to the PvP side of the game in a real way. And hey, are we going to make this thing competitive or not? Is it always just going to be a casual experience for you to go get, 10 headshot kills on Warlocks? Or are we going to actually commit to this? Are we going to actually try and make this like an esport? Are we going to commit to it and then back that up with action? I think that'd be amazing.
Well, I guess the good news is go ahead.
No, I was just saying, communication's key.
Yeah. I was just going to say, we are, I don't know, did we clearly mention we're a month out from the end of the season? That was also in the TWAB.
No,
they did. Yeah.
Point.
That was the warning in addition to the Festival of the Lost being done. We are now, I don't know if it's exactly 30, but it was roughly a month out from Season of Undying. And so in addition to thinking about
when do you think we'll start seeing trailers for the next season?
Yeah,
that's where I was about going with this.
End of
roadmap. Usually it's around, honestly, end the roadmap at the top of the TWAB. Usually around Thanksgiving or just after, or we're coming up to probably getting some new info and hopefully
a couple of weeks.
When's the final assault of Vex Offensive?
That's next week. next Tuesday.
Ooh,
The 19th is Final Assault.
that's close.
I mean, should be the last
So yeah, last week of November.
roadmap. That's what I'm pretty sure it said. I can't find it now, so who knows? But
Yeah.
the portal will be built Tuesday. Is that how that's going to?
That's
I mean, I
where
don't
the
know.
competitive. That's where the dedicated servers with a really high tick
That's
rate.
where they have been. You step in, it's a server
120
farm.
hertz tick rate in there.
What if they
Holy
convert
crap.
Ada and the Black Armory into a server farm? Because it looks just like a server farm. You might as well just
I'd like that.
do that. That's where all the dedicated servers go. But anyway, my point was I think we could be coming up on some juicy news. Maybe
Hopefully.
I don't know,
Hopefully
like
next
a few
We
weeks
should
or
be.
right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Just more content for PvP would be great. Regarding what we was spoken about regarding the renewed focus on PvP. The PvP community has pretty much been self-sustained for the last 5 years, competitive-wise, in the sense that we've just been trying to make our own niche competitive environment. But Bungie actually, I was very happy that they had their own booth at a Guardian Con, in the sense where people could play each other, a PvP. That was very fun. That was like their first interest I think I've seen them show publicly about like PvP against each other, especially at like a live event. I think, honestly, that if they had a live PvP event, tournament based, I think that would draw so much attention to the PvP community, and it would also bump their promise on renewed focus on PvP. It would help them live up to that. If they held their own PvP tournament, maybe at Guardian Con or the Gaming Community Expo is called now. If they really just hosted something, then I know for a fact, I'm not sure if they're worried about publicizing their game as a competitive genre. I mean, I don't think people would interpret it that way. A lot of the PvP, I don't think so. Yeah, at all. But yeah, I was gonna say, basically, if they just lived up to the renewed focus on PvP, PvP players would be a lot happier. And the way to do that, I think, would be hosting a PvP tournament. And there would be a lot of current PvP players that'd be willing to help them with that. There are people in the PvP player base right now in the Sweat community who have 5, maybe close coming up on 6 years of experience that would just be so willing to help, like make an entertaining event happen. I think that a lot of PvP players would be willing to help for free, like voluntarily, just give them so much insight.
Vince, you said you play some Overwatch, certainly Call of Duty. Like, do you? I don't know if that's what you'd compare, but what do you think Destiny needs to do, ideally, if you were to compare it to another game that's out there for PvP?
So it needs to do in terms of what? Needs to do in order to do what?
Well, in other words, like you said, you're fostering, a community, like kind of in the, you got a separate website, and like, is there a model out there where you'd say, oh, I wish that in the game, it had these features, to foster the community better, and like, because it's got comp mode, or maybe that's your answer, is comp enough?
Personally, I don't.
Right.
I don't think comp is enough personally. I think that Bungie doesn't implement the leaderboard system in Destiny is because that would portray that there's a competitive aspect to it, in the sense that some players are better than others. It would be too direct in determining that it's competitive. I really think that's the reason that they don't want to do it. I really think that's why they don't want to do it. They haven't come out and said that, but it's so easy to get to 5,500 this season. They've made it easier and easier so that the casual player can just get to a higher rank. It's almost like they don't want a distinguished ranking system.
I kind of think they just want everybody to get the rewards.
Exactly.
That's the problem with tying it to that, right? Is that you then are having to balance this thing of, oh, we have a competitive playlist, but we have to make it somewhat accessible for everyone because we have these rewards tied to it. So
and these rewards happen to be the best weapons in PvE.
Right.
Yeah. So if anything, they should just tie the rewards to just regular Crucible, and then just have comp have its own stuff. Let comp have its own thing, because you need to make it competitive, right? That's why it's called competitive,
right?
Exactly. Yes, and there are certain aspects that take away from competitive, like heavy ammo. I don't think heavy ammo should belongs in competitive at all. I think that's very one-sided, unbalanced. But we've complained about that for over a year, and Bungie has made attunements along or changes along the line. But I don't think that the changes that were made were enough. However, I'm not sure if they really want to budge on taking heavy ammo out of competitive completely, because it is its own segment of the game. I think the problem with heavy ammo is that when you get heavy ammo, not only do you win the next engagement, you win the next few engagements, because you always have heavy ammo with like a machine gun, for example. So it just becomes kind of a role.
In Destiny 1 year 1, you'd have it for the rest of the match. Because everybody you killed would drop it for you.
Right. So
the BTRD.
There wasn't a competitive mode. Exactly. There wasn't a competitive mode in Destiny 1. So that's why I was saying, like, in casual, it's fine. You can just go run around, have heavy. It's whatever. right? But in the sense of like actually bouncing back, it's really hard to make that comeback. It becomes a game of who has heavy, not exactly who is better at Destiny.
That's what drives me crazy about heavy. And right now, heavy's so random where it's like, oh, they have a rocket, they've got grenades.
They have a rocket,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but in terms of like what is needed to be done, there are a few bugs right now that really take away from like the seriousness of a competitive esport. For example, melee's whiffing, like not registering. That's a big problem.
Yep.
Huge problem. That's been going on for 4 years.
Yep.
They actually mentioned it once, I believe, in the last 4 years, saying that it was a very, very difficult coding problem to solve, and I believe them.
Yeah.
These
I remember that now.
Like people just complain like, oh, just make it register. They don't really like. I major in like data science, like I know how to program, etc. Like these problems can get so complex, and like you have to do so much work in order to fix the most minor things that I understand if that's not on their priority list right now. Is fixing
I ran a cash register when I was in high school. It wasn't that fucking hard.
Hit the button and out comes the money.
Another big thing that's been happening, the rampant hacking that's been going on.
Oh,
that's free to play in Steam. That's a whole other issue. I think they are on top of that though, because a lot of players have been getting banned from what I know, because there are people that have actually gone into the competitive face of platform that we have, where you basically queue up and it's like, wow, this guy is really, really, really good. It's kind of suspicious. And a few people have been banned because we asked them to record their gameplay, and you can just tell that like they're aiming at people before they're even like they're on the other side of a wall and they like lock onto the body through the wall like before they turn. So you can see it's like they do it by accident.
Hacks.
Like they say, oh, I'm recording. I promise I'm not cheating. I promise I'm not cheating. And then they aim at another person's like head. They have like everyone in the lobby starts recording and they look at their gameplay compared to his. And it's like, wait, how did you know he was there, like crouching, like across the map? Like, why'd you automatically zoom there? It's like
Space
like
Jesus.
They do that they do it like a couple of times. So it's like it becomes very obvious. And then you see there's a lot of ways to tell over video, like incremental.
I can't wait for trials to come back.
But yeah, so there's like an aggressive, obvious hack that's going on right now that's making the rounds, and again, free to play on Steam, so people make new accounts and all that.
Exactly, people just make a new account.
Yeah, but like there's this hack where people just teleport right in front of the people and automatically respawn if they die.
Exactly. So I've seen that. I've never encountered that, but I've seen that a lot. So is it actually a common issue, or is it very rare?
I encountered it.
I haven't seen it.
I encountered it playing Iron Banner.
Really?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I have not seen
People
it
just
yet.
started leaving the
I haven't
lobby.
seen it.
Yeah. Like just keeps on spawning in front of me, and either I die or they die because I have a shotgun or something.
Yeah.
Mm.
And this is in addition to the fact that you need to pay for a VPN just to play Destiny 2 PvP.
Yeah. All right.
No, yeah. So regarding that, there's all like another minor glitch is we call it the double damage glitch. There's sometimes where if a player has more health than the amount of damage you're doing to someone, it kills them anyway. So if someone's like 15 feet away with the shotgun and they have like 3/4 health, right? My shotgun should do maybe like 30 damage. It kills them anyway. It's an error. Or like if I shoot them with the thorn and they have 3/4 health, if I shoot them once in the body, they'll just instantly die.
I have noticed that, and I want to bring it up, and then I'm like, you know what?
Yes.
Destiny PvP. I'm just not going to talk
you're
about
right.
Destiny.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like it happens. Yeah. So that is actually a bug that I hope gets acknowledged soon, because I'm pretty sure it's network related. But
Definitely.
yes, there are times if like a match is really laggy, it happens fairly often. That's why I think it's network related. If there's a lot of lag, sometimes player has 3/4 health, I shoot them in the body with a hand cannon, they instantly die.
Believe it. Yeah, maybe it thinks like more bullets are hitting them because it's duplicating or who knows.
I see that happen all the time.
Interesting.
Where like the match is rectifying the damage that's being shot, and suddenly it's like all these hit actually, and like the health bar just
it's like pipe bomb in Borderlands Theft.
Infinite
once it hits, it's just an infinite.
The calculations
meltdown.
lagging behind, then suddenly catches up.
Yeah, it's definitely also been more frequent as the game went on. It didn't used to happen a lot in Forsaken. It did happen once every maybe like 10 matches. I want to say it was the beginning of September. I think there was a major update when it happened a lot more frequently than it used to. So I'm not sure if they made a change to the networking of Destiny or not, but it happens a lot more frequently within the last 2 or 3 months than it did prior to Shadowkeep.
Yeah.
Jaladic says, how do you think they should bring back faction rallies? Should it be something that is active all the time like in Destiny 1, or just improve what they did in Destiny 2? Really miss my faction ornaments.
I think it should be a timed event, to be honest. I know a lot of people won't really like that answer in the sense that I think that it brings a variety of content at a certain point of time. People will get excited and come back to Destiny. It'll bring them back when they know that a new event is happening. If they bring maybe an exotic catalyst over time with faction rallies, every time it's introduced, like, okay, here, faction rallies is back. If you go to Dead Orbit, you get the Thorn catalyst. If you go to New Monarchy, you get the Last Word catalyst. Future War Cult, you get whatever weapon, right? And it's just a different catalyst every time, and you have to make these choices. And eventually you can get them different ways later in the game. But you have to make these choices if you want to get these catalysts now or what you want to go to. And it will bring people back to the game. I think it's a great way in order to produce more content and have the game stay alive. I don't think it needs
to
be
be
24/7.
Seriously rework how they work, though. I mean,
exactly.
I think so.
Epitome of tedium.
Yes.
Just running lost sectors over and over again for
Exactly.
hours at a time was terrible.
Exactly. So in terms of reworking it, I think that they need to make the most efficient way of getting tokens a pinnacle activity. I think that has to be the best way to do it, or a non-tedious activity in the way that you put it. I don't think farming lost sectors should be the fastest way in order to level up your faction. I think doing activities that people enjoy doing from PvP and PvE should be the ways of getting the most tokens, like doing a raid, doing strikes, doing nightfalls, particularly the raid and nightfalls being the most efficient ways to get them in PvE, and then maybe competitive is the most efficient way from getting them in PvP. I'm not sure. Whatever caters to both populations the most, activities that people want to do, that'll be the best way to implement it.
Yeah, the rework is definitely needed. I do wish it was in the game though, or I wish they had done the rework, because back before we played it, I thought it was going to be the Iron Banner for PvE. And that made me excited to think, oh, there's going to be an event that comes around once a month that's going to be like the PvE Iron Banner, that we're going to go and get loot and specific rewards. And it just became it just became lost sectors constantly hoping to get a bad weapon.
Yeah, it was so tedious.
It was it was a glued together event, you know.
Yeah.
I assume they've had many ideas, but there's been so much other stuff going on. I'm sure it's been on the back burner.
I don't want them to bring this back unless they have like a really good idea on how to implement it. Yeah.
I still want it to be world PvP, where you hold down different, they can create a new map for it.
Like card point.
Oh yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. Wow.
So you'd have a big map, and it would be like big teams, and you try and take control of different sections of the map, and you fight it out based on your faction. And then you could have at the end of every week, whichever faction had the most territory in that map, you get extra whatever.
That'd be really cool if they did
that. Would be awesome.
That'd be
that's
really
of course
fun.
That's a lot of work, and that's a huge rework. But I think that's what faction would really flourish in.
Yeah.
What if they reuse patrol maps, or what if they just put these kind of random control points on patrol maps, and if you saw one and you went and captured it, you'd score a point for your faction. But if there was another a opposing faction team member somewhere, they could come fight you for that control point just in a random patrol map. That'd be awesome. Just have random PvP maps in patrol.
Yeah, I mean, I think a cool way to do it would be maybe similar to the Division Dark Zone, in the sense that you have separate areas where people can kind of take control. So maybe in patrol, you load up patrol, everyone goes into the same patrol world, but kind of like how Festival of the Lost is now, they added that separate activity map. Maybe they can add a separate map attached to the patrol. You access it through patrol. You drive to it, and then you can go through there, and then the area becomes PvP.
That would be dope.
That'd be awesome. And then whoever controls different, and it would be on every single planet, and then whoever controls the territories on the most planets would win.
Make us pick factions account wide, not character wide.
Right.
Yeah.
Make it count.
Yeah.
And one final thing.
I don't want to have one character on each faction.
And one final thing, show it in the tower or on the director who's winning.
Scoreboard.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say it'd be cool to see. It wouldn't be the same, but if you ever played For Honor, they kind of had a cool way of showing
they did
how you were taking land, so to speak.
That was
cool. Like a map,
there's a parallel
right?
there. Yeah, and you would take over pieces, and you could almost see taking over territories, different planets as part of your progression, but account wide, and globally. There's something there, but
imagine if you hovered over Mars and you saw Dead Orbit is in the lead. I better go there and represent Future War Cult.
I'd be going.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely something there, but bring back trials first, and then maybe work on that. But that's just me.
I'm interested to see how they're going to tune trials, bring it back. I think that it's.
God, I'm so scared of trials coming back in the current landscape of just constant cheaters, constant. You know, the fact that I need a VPN to play PvP.
True.
So I'm very optimistic. I guess you could say hopeful at this point, in the sense that hopefully all the cheats that are currently mainstream will be gone by the time trials comes back. I hope that they're really working on that in order to prevent cheaters, because like I said, in Face It, like we've even had people like not only we like manually ban them from the platform, but we found out they actually just got banned from Destiny completely. So they are working like behind the scenes to ban players for sure that are cheating. I just hope that all the mainstream hacks are finally gone by the time trials comes out, and then new ones will be developed, of course, but it will take time. So
yeah.
Nigel Williams says, why is there still no Hunter Vanguard? No hunters want the job.
Oh,
true.
I think it's gonna still be a major story moment, as many I think have speculated, like how would it go down. But I think they're kind of saving it for that.
No spoilers. Moment. No spoilers.
You know, and it's given. I mean, I have no idea, and it's given. You know, Ikora and Zavala and now Eris like some room to breathe. So, wait, Tef, do you know who it is? Is that what you're saying? Like,
isn't it obvious?
That's what he's saying. Yes.
Oh, really? I guess
Sweeperbot, man.
But I have no idea. No, it's Sweeperbot.
Sweeperbot.
It's Callus himself.
I mean, hunters are like cats, man. You can't get them to agree on anything. There's no way this is happening. Didn't Cade get the job because he fucked up?
Yeah, he got.
Like, it was basically punishment.
Yeah, he got like relegated to the tower for screwing up.
Nobody wants that job. Hunters want to be out in the field having fun, not hanging out in the tower. Lord Navarone says, question for everybody: at what moment in time did you realize that you would have a long run with Destiny? That this would be a game which you would create quality content for. So when did you figure out, like, wait
quality
a minute,
content? Let's get rid of the quality.
When did you realize that you're gonna? This is more than dalliance, passing dalliance.
I think it might have been from the alpha, just because I enjoyed it so much that it was that feeling of when you play something and you're like, oh, this is just for me. This is exactly my type of thing. This is exactly what I want. So yeah, I think it was the alpha for me because I just fell in love with it instantly.
Yeah, the
I was
alpha.
gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, I was not even like watching Destiny at all until I was watching like the E3 presentation. And they're like, hey, you can play the alpha right now. So I'm like, oh, cool. I'll just download that right now. And I played it for the next week, 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, I really like that. And then COD Infinite Warfare came out, and I hated it.
Yeah.
Or was it Advanced
Same.
Warfare? Was it Advanced Warfare or Infinite Warfare?
Advanced
Warfare.
Advanced Warfare. Yep.
And
that's
I hated
exactly
it.
what happened.
So I just started talking about Destiny instead of Call of Duty on my YouTube channel, and then
Same.
you know, all sorts of bad decisions later, and here I am.
That's the story of your life.
I think for me, it was rating, like, by the second week, doing Vault of Glass on all three characters. I was like, all three hunters, by the way. I was triple hunter because I wanted to hit 30.
No, I believe it. It's just so important to your story that you established that.
It is. It's extremely important. I was triple hunter.
There was no warlock play. Nobody on the team was a warlock.
My Xbox account to this day had only experienced hunters. That was it.
Dang, man.
I'm serious. Yeah. I think it was like, the second week of raiding all three, I was like, this is different. This is something else.
Mm-hmm. Something special.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it still is something different. Like a bunch of people have taken a shot at it, and nobody's.
And they've all failed.
Yeah.
Miserably.
It's very
I mean, Division 2 hasn't failed.
No, it hasn't failed.
But the rest of them have pretty much just failed miserably. You're right.
Destiny is half a decade evolved now. You know, they stuck with it. Like a lot of folks, like you can't just do that overnight. And certain people are on the path, but people got a long way to go to be where Destiny's at.
I know it's too much to hope for, but you know, I still love flying around in Anthem. I thought that game had a lot of promise, and it seems like it's being abandoned, and that makes me real sad. Because if
they have
Anthem got 5 years,
they got a winter event coming up. They're going to cover the whole area with snow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they always do. They've been doing. Is that actually? Did they say they're going to do that?
Okay.
I think I saw that.
They
on
probably
Twitter.
did.
Yeah, I was
they're
like,
still doing
oh.
seasonal events.
Yeah.
They did the Halloween event. And,
Yeah.
I agree with you.
They need
who
to
knows?
take
Maybe
a moment bad.
Yeah, but maybe they'll use like I would hope they just stuck with it, but it's hard to maybe pull that one out. But I was gonna say maybe they could still keep some of the mechanics and production on the javelins. Who knows? Maybe they could still figure out how to do some of that in a new brand or something if the brand's dead. But I don't know. I'd still be down for it. They would need a huge retooling. But yeah, Anthem is the perfect example. It's like, okay, I love the javelins and flying around, but it like all the rest of the stuff's missing, like the loot, the everything. And that's not just a patch. I mean, it's years of work.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And a community that has to be behind it.
Exactly. I think there was an article that came out saying like the problem behind Anthem, like how many problems the development team faced internally. Yeah.
Or Schreier or Schreier. I always get it mixed up.
I'm not sure how to pronounce it either, to be honest.
Now that you mention, yeah, everybody says Schreier, and I hope that it is.
So many internal problems that, like, of course, the game was going to turn out like that. Like, if you
I've asked him to his face how to pronounce his name, and I still don't remember. Idiot.
How respectful.
Just forget.
All right.
Yeah.
Ringo the Dingo says, with so much emphasis on Eververse stuff, is it again Festival of the Cost? What's your final take on this year's event?
I wouldn't say it was Festival of the Cost. There was still the Haunted Fort. Yeah, like there's actual activities for you to do. There's the auto rifle for you to obtain. There's the masks for you to obtain. Yeah, there's a lot of focus on Eververse. Of anytime there's a big event, they think that it is a great time to bring in more Eververse stuff. But I wouldn't say the Festival of the Cost though.
Yeah, the Festival of the Cost, I think it was specifically 1 year where the entire event was in the Eververse store.
Yes.
Like that was when
I think we might have.
Yep.
I think we might have done a lap around the tower and talked to a few different people, and that was the extent of Festival of the Lost, aside from what was in Eververse.
Yeah, and the difference then was you were actually right. They were shared masks, right? Like you could get them either from the engrams, right, from the Eververse, or from playing it, right, or something like that. So meaning you would end like people were buying. I forget what you could buy, but you were buying to try to get everything. Whereas this is still separate, right? I mean, if you want the tombstone thing, you just got to buy it. Or if you're lucky and you have Bright Dust, cool. But it's not like you're trying to grind out Festival of the Lost to earn the tombstone. But I think, but that is the fair question is like, do you think there's enough reward with the Massa and the Braytech Werewolf? And I mean, I think it's better, but I will say there's a lot of cool stuff in the store still. But it's a free event.
Yeah.
And by far the coolest stuff is in the store.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But you can't get a weapon in there, you know. So at least the most impactful thing is an actual thing you got to play for. The rest of it is completely vanity, you know.
Yeah, you know, and like I have really not been happy about the Eververse store in Destiny 2. Like I really don't like it, and I'm starting to come to terms with the fact that this is the Destiny that I've got to get accustomed to. But it's hard because, you know, in a looter shooter where you want to be getting all this loot by playing the game, you know, you want the motivation to go out there and shoot. You want the grabby stabby stuff. But then you see the coolest loot, the stuff that you want the most is in the Eververse store. It's just really a motivating factor.
Well, after you have your loadout.
I agree.
After you have your loadout, you want to collect the cool cosmetics. And that's only possible with Eververse right now.
That's a problem. I remember there was a huge controversy actually when they first announced they were ever going to implement microtransactions in Destiny ever. I think it was in Destiny 1.
Yeah, I threw a shit fit on this podcast about it.
Like it was unacceptable, and they were okay with it in the sense that they just kept pushing for it. And now people have kind of come to terms with the fact that it is a thing, and that's not okay in my eyes in the sense that people have kind of just given up that reinforcement for a paid game. I don't think you should also have microtransactions in there. I am happy the way that they're doing it in the sense that it's only cosmetic. Call of Duty, for example, actually has weapons in the game in their loot boxes, which is just completely unacceptable on my end. I just don't think that's okay at all. But I also don't think that microtransactions should be in the Destiny as like a game itself in the sense that it's also being paid for, and we spend hundreds of dollars to play it, not only $60 for all the DLCs, all the expansions that come out. I think that just paying an actual premium for a game, I want the full game there, and I want it to be supported after. If that means making the game cost more, the expansions cost more, I'm okay with that, as long as I don't have to pay for microtransactions for them to be adding content, because then I feel ripped off in the sense that, okay, I bought the expansion and now there are all these other items that they've developed simply to attack on top of it. They didn't include it in this work that they were already working on. I think it's basically like making a whole cake, and then they're selling you another slice of that cake as a premium. They're charging you the same price.
You want this delicious sauce? You got to pay for the sauce to add to the cake.
Oh, you wanted sugar in your cake batter? Oh, that costs extra.
It's like they make it's like they make the full cake, take a slice out, and they charge you the same price. Yeah. And they say, we can sell you this on top of it. That's the way I interpret it.
Or it's actually, you're buying a birthday cake and you bought it, and they're like, and then you say, oh, but I wanted you to put text on there, happy birthday so-and-so. They're like, that's extra, actually. Eververse. Ink that
it
cosmetic.
Actually is extra.
Yeah, that's definitely extra, actually.
That's actually extra
No
when
doubt
you go
about it.
buy
You know what?
a cake.
Now that I think about it. Eververse is actually set up exactly how it should be, guys. We're good.
Definitely still work to be done, though, because there is stuff like pay to play with the ghosts, like getting 10% experiences. Small but meaningful, that you're gonna pay to get like a cool new ghost that also has 10% experience buff, and like technically, like just on a black and white, like that's not cool. Like it shouldn't be in there, but they're like, let's see if we can push that.
Well, I feel like it's been a constant progression, you know, since the days where we got Chroma. The first microtransaction was Chroma, right?
Yeah.
And like it's been expanding and expanding.
Keep poking the bear.
You know, I remember going back when Chroma first came out. When Chroma first came out, and I literally had a shit fit about having microtransactions in Destiny, because it's a looter shooter, right? Like the whole point of playing a looter shooter is to shoot stuff and get loot for it. And I remember a huge backlash. People were like, you know, this is an overreaction. You know, and I kept using like slippery slope kind of language, and like people were just on me. But like, look at where we are now, and we're still on that slope. We're still sliding down that slope. We're not done yet. This isn't the final result of what Eververse is going to be. She's not evolved to her final form yet. Trust me. No. She's going to keep going.
I always think of Destiny as walking that really thin line of, we have a bunch of armor and weapons in the game, and then there's these other things in Eververse. And it's going to take is probably one extra armor set to go away from the game and into Eververse for it to be like, this is too much. Yeah. It's like a very, very, very thin line that they're on at the moment.
I mean,
I will say I am glad that they got rid of the loot boxes.
Oh yeah, thank God.
That was a good decision.
Yes, definitely a step in the right direction. But yeah, I mean, there are so many reskinned items in Destiny, from armor, weapons, and everything, that having the different variations of aesthetics be locks behind a paywall is unacceptable in my opinion. Like the Last Word, for example. If I can get an ornament like that naturally through the game, that would be so much better than me having to pay what, $7, I think it was, like $7 in order to get that skin. The laconic ornament.
You'd chase it
on the Last Word.
You would absolutely chase it.
And they can make it very difficult to earn, like get like 100 precision kills or something, or like 1,000 precision kills, whatever.
The old Call of Duty
6,000.
Exactly. The old Call of Duty
unlock skins by performing with that weapon.
Exactly. And then you can do some
it was
sort
a prestige item because, oh look, I got the autumn camo for my gun because I got fucking 10,000 kills with the goddamn thing.
Exactly. Yes. So you can unlock like gold for the Last Word or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it still goes back to, though, they have to have enough in the game, which is a delicate balance with this, how much people play it. But there's clearly still not enough in the game. If there was, people wouldn't care if there's like other versions of this other stuff. And even then, though, you got to be careful that what you offer for sale is not like I can pay $7 for something that was very hard to earn for you. And
exactly.
So it's, but yeah, work to be done. I still like it's gone in a better direction, at least lately. So I think it's very expensive, though.
Yeah. It's definitely in a better direction right now. And I'm happy that they're making money as an independent company for this stuff. Definitely happy about that stuff. I would love to be able to have in-game earnings, though, of those really cool Eververse stuff. That's beyond like playing an insane amount of time for Bright Dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to end on. I don't like playing Festival of the Lost. Like, I actually don't care about the mask that much as sort of a keepsake item. The werewolf totally did. But then you look at like some of the skins and the ornaments, that is, and I'm like, why aren't those just part of like getting to like, wave 9 or tier 9 of the forest? Or like, why didn't I get one of those cool exotic emotes for getting to say tier 10 or like that?
Yep.
Frankly, it would be really easy incentive and cool incentive, but instead it's like $12.
Or if
And I think that's where it's
it'd
clear.
motivate you to play the game more too.
Well, yeah.
Oh, I want to get
but
good
reward you
enough at this to get to level 10 so I can get the rip emote. Like,
yeah. So I'd like to see that. And again, I know it's free event, but there's still a balance that is not being struck yet.
like it's just
to be done.
A microtransaction store is just not copacetic with a looter shooter. I'm sorry. Just fucking it. They're two things that are just like constantly fighting each other. Like even with
one
Overwatch,
that you pay for. If it was 100% free, maybe.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't have as much a problem with it if it was a free game like
Right.
with what's the name of that game?
Warframe, maybe.
Warframe, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. We should move on. Next question.
Protheon says you get. Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. The Mohegan 9 says when you give your pets water, do you give them from the tap or filtered?
Filtered.
Filtered.
Ah.
I heard actually this could be a problem though because they don't get certain minerals. So
Why do you give your
yeah.
pets filtered water?
Because
Wait,
it's
are you giving them like bottled water or do you have filtered water? Do you have filtered
Bottled
taps?
water
on the fridge? Yeah.
I have filtered water in the fridge. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like that's different because I do that too. We have a whole house filter. All the water that comes into our house is filtered.
Right.
By the way, plastic
Fancy.
bottles and water inside it are. Don't think that water's good for you. It might be filtered.
Are you saying that
It's
putting
awful for you.
something that I'm going to ingest in a petrochemical container
Thank you.
isn't a great idea?
Just
Are
in
you
case
trying
folks
to
didn't-
You trying to
The
hate?
plastic industry isn't got my
My-
best interest at heart?
You trying to hate on
dad
the
is-
potential of leaching chemicals into my digestible drinking
It's true.
fuel?
Many people don't know that, and it's kind of like, oh, this is really good water. It's like it's in a plastic bottle. It's not going to be good for you at all. It's my dad. Yeah, my dad was a.
Why do you think it tastes so different after it's been in the sun for an hour?
Exactly. Yeah, especially when it gets in
Because it has
light or heat,
antioxidants.
it gets awful for you.
Because it's
Yeah, I was gonna say,
healing me slowly.
Eventually, after many years, my dad, now retired plastic scientist, he describes it as a chemical cocktail. Is what you're getting. So I'm like, you know what? As much as I can avoid it anyway.
Yikes.
I mean,
Yeah.
anyway, side topic. FYI. So yeah, don't give it to your pets is the point either.
I read some
so-
stuff about Teflon that was very upsetting.
Oh God.
We did a lot of cooking on Teflon cookware in my day.
Ah,
Very upsetting. Very upsetting.
now the planet's gonna catch on fire before it gets to
So
us.
I was just gonna say though, if you do give your pets filtered water, I think there can be a mineral deficiency that happens.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's why
You gotta
you
give
need
them-
to make
so
sure
you give
you're
them
feeding
Gatorade.
them. No,
you give a
you need
monster.
to make sure you're
Monster Energy.
feeding them food that has all of the minerals and stuff added into it that they need. So then you don't need to worry about
You
that.
got to give them.
I just put a steak on the floor and watch them fight for it.
You're talking about your kids, right?
Whoever's around.
The kids and the dogs, they all got to fight over.
Just
Just mix it up or
the
whatever.
whole
Same shit
family.
going on every night.
Briar actually has a giant wrestling ring in his house. He just throws
believe
the
it.
whole family
dinner
in there.
time.
It is literally like romper room in my house sometimes. If you don't know, we got 2 kids, we got 2 cats, we got 2 dogs here. We got a horse
7,000
off-site. The horse doesn't actually live here, but it's literally like this house is bustling with activity sometimes.
You have an off-site horse,
It's a
We
farm.
have an off-site horse, yeah.
so it
on
works
a
from
farm.
home. It doesn't come in all the time.
Exactly. Phones it in, really, to be honest with you. Protheon says you get $1 million, but every time you enter a room, the Benny Hill theme plays loudly for 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Wow.
Can you give us an
5
example of
minutes
how
is
that
a
would
long time.
sound, Briar?
Look up Yakety Sax
Yeah.
on
I don't.
Spotify.
Okay, you know what I
It's
would
there.
do? I would just run around in a circle for 5 minutes to make it an enjoyable experience for
Wait,
at least the first
I
time.
like the Benny Hill theme song as much as the next guy, but 5 minutes
hold up.
loudly
that bad.
every time I walk into a different room.
that's me
like if I'm going
building-
to the bathroom and I'm coming back, I
Yeah.
gotta hear it for 10 minutes.
It'd be
That's
hard
me
to
building
stream.
like half a road. To
Hard
be
to
honest, I don't
stream, hell yeah.
leave. I don't leave my room really. So
It-
I'd be okay.
But when you
It's
do,
a
just think you're
one-time
about to
deal,
like
though?
go to
it's
bed.
just 5 minutes.
Wow,
every
you're
year.
literally like
Fine.
done streaming. You walk
5
out of
minutes.
your office.
Yeah, you walk in
And
the
you get in the
hallway,
hallway, it
that's
starts
5
playing.
minutes. You walk
then you
through
get
the
to
living
the
room, it's
kitchen,
another 5
and
minutes.
it just starts. It keeps starting over too.
What if you have
By the
an
time you
open
get to the bedroom,
floor
you got
plan
25 minutes of
house?
yakety sax banked.
Hold on. This is important. Is
Does
it
the
a
kitchen count
one
as
time?
a living room?
Is it a one time deal getting $1 million?
Yeah.
Do I get $1 million every time I enter a room?
No. You get $1 million.
So you just get a cold $1 million
One time.
and then eventually go
Yeah.
deaf from Benny Hill.
No, I want
pass.
$1 million
I'm
every
taking
room.
a pass
hard
on this.
pass. Hard pass on this.
I was
It's
wanting
too
it
much.
every
Too
room,
much.
to be honest.
Maybe for a year. Maybe. Even a year, though, I'm going to go fucking nuts.
Loudly implies
5 minutes is a long time.
Loudly
I get
implies
noise
high
canceling
DB.
headphones with the money.
You could do that.
That have them custom designed if I have to. It'll cancel the
Cancel
song.
out.
It
Yeah,
detects it and it
stats.
cancels every piece of frequency. There, I've solved it. I'll take the money.
That's smart. I like that.
The
Five
the
head.
headphones are going to cost you $2 million to develop.
Yeah.
I'll still keep a margin.
Jade to that, Jesse says, since this is the last week of Festival of the Lost, I'll give you a scary movie theme question. If you were to put a Fitbit on Jason Voorhees and another on Michael Myers, who would walk the most steps?
Wait,
I think Jason
What?
Voorhees teleports based on the video game that I played.
True.
who would
You're
walk
right.
the most steps?
Yeah. And Jason
I
Voorhees
think- I
pretty
feel
much
like
just
Michael
walks around that
Myers.
one crystal lake,
and
right?
Yeah, he does. He walks around in a circle like all
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And swims a lot.
Well,
pretty
that
fit.
counts though. They're waterproof.
He's pretty
Hey, it
fit.
says steps. It says steps.
That's kind of a
specifically.
step.
No, but they only
is a
count
step.
steps. See, this is the technicality. Like
Do we
it'll
need-
count steps as you're moving. It's just what they're called.
Oh, okay.
Now, right? It didn't say that it had to be real steps. You could be on a anyway. I'm gonna go with Michael Myers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Michael Myers.
Yeah, I think Michael
Definitely
Myers.
Michael Myers.
Yep.
Yep. Definitely.
He's the most. He's keeping it tight.
We're in agreement. Yeah, he is, man.
You have a
Lee
thing
is no pro.
guys-
Unified.
horrific murders in mass. What's going on, Briar? Did you guys hear him after I said that? That's alarming, to say the least. He's like, yeah,
Lee
he
is no pro says with the launch of Pokemon tomorrow, please pick my starter. So he gives us the 3
Oh,
starters
no.
so we can pick for him.
Okay.
So Sobel is the water, Score Bunny is fire, and Grookey is grass. The fate of my future is in your hands.
Score Bunny sounds pretty
Grass.
awesome.
Score Bunny does sound pretty good.
It's
That
the
sounds
cutest.
Fire.
And no one wants it, so I'm picking that one. But it's the cutest.
Are we in agreement again?
No.
Across the board? Score Bunny?
No.
No?
Does any of them
What-
look like a sand dick?
What's your pick?
Any of them look like a sand dick by any chance?
Go with the grass Pokemon. Trust me.
Yeah, that's probably a good.
Grookey
The fire one is
sounds
what
like it
everyone
could be a
gets.
variety of pot.
Perfect. You won't
And
be basic
therefore,
like
you
everyone
never-
else. You'll be a step above the rest of the other Pokemon trainers.
What is like if Pokemon is rock, paper, scissors, what does grass beat?
Dirt?
Everything.
I don't know.
Everything.
What is it?
Electricity.
Wind?
Like, water
No.
beats
Funny because
fire,
I'm not
fire
even
beats
that.
grass, and grass is fucked.
Singed.
It's burning.
Kindling.
I don't know now.
Grass
It beats
beat wind.
it beats water.
Yeah, I think that's right.
That makes total sense.
But a water. No,
I'm not a
that doesn't
Pokemon
make any
expert.
It soaks up the water, it drinks it, provides
soaks it up.
nutrients.
The water
That's
is
all its
all it
minerals.
dies.
All them leaves.
Nah, man, it's super grass.
Super
It's
grass.
slurping up that water.
Also, my favorite thing to buy at a
Look, everyone's gonna be
Dispensary.
playing the bunny. Don't be everyone.
Score Bunny. Fire.
Exactly.
Vivid
This is why.
Fantasy says, okay, stranded island situation again. But this time a boat with a small plate of food for each of you just magically arrives. What type of food would you guys want to be on that plate?
Barbecue Briar.
Yes.
What the-
Braves,
why did this come
barbecue,
out?
baby back, briar
Wait, did
ribs.
the boat like come pick him up? And
Yeah.
isn't he on the island with us? It like picked
the
him
boat
up. And
actually like completely set him up for
Right.
us to eat him.
we
It
knew
was
what
great.
it was for. Too.
Massively
They had like
cooked by a
Yeah.
Michelin star restaurant. Put him on the boat, and now we're eating him.
I mean,
this is
you
even
could-
better
You
than
can give me
before.
a 3-star Michelin rating. I might even be on board with this.
Let's stick with that. But that and also a secondary answer would be, I mean, is it a hot desert island thing, or is it like a,
I think
is
so.
it cold?
Yeah.
Like,
Gotta
an
check
island's
the
hot.
biome.
It's hot, is it?
Yeah, I think it's a hot desert island.
Oh,
So
then
you're in the
whatever.
equator.
I want
Even-
cold soba. That's what I want.
See, that's
Cold
what I'm asking,
soba.
Watts, depending. But I usually
I'm
just
still
default to
taking the
Indian-
Michelin.
The briar.
yeah.
The briar.
Curry.
The Michelin star
Yeah,
briar.
yeah.
super hot.
No Italian
Oh, they
food?
could bring some corn.
Oh,
well,
I know,
he could
Vince,
also
dude.
briar could be
Oh,
Italian.
man, there's a lot of sand around. I
Italian
feel like
sausage
sand and
briar.
Italian go good.
Just a meat sauce.
We can take one leg and make it a sausage briar. It's fine.
What would you get, Vince? Is it Italian?
Sicilian pizza.
Oh, that's a good
Ooh.
call right there.
Nice.
Okay, actually, that's a really good answer.
Yeah.
I would, yeah, because you
You'd
can
want
eat it
that
so fast.
every
too.
day?
Yep.
Every day.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
I'm actually maybe with Vince on this. Yeah, the Italians.
I
No.
don't want
Yeah.
something. I'd want Chinese food so that every day I get a new set of chopsticks. And eventually I could build a raft out of my chopsticks and escape the fucking island.
I like that your version, they give you like those cheap disposable chopsticks that like you normally would throw away. Like you're not
Yep.
assuming that you have a nice pair of chopsticks. That
Yeah.
you keep.
I'm on a desert island. What
After-
desert island has expensive chopsticks?
They
on
After
just brought you a plate of
1,500
food on
days.
like a boat.
After
Anything
1,500
could
days, he finally made a 3x3 foot boat.
Well, I
Get
need
out
a
of there.
sail and a paddle too.
True.
I need a mast and a paddle.
Mhm.
Uh,
Oh, this
Anti-Guardian
food
one.
sounds good
Yeah, now I'm hungry.
for dinner. You know,
We got a meeting with Pope
How many-
tonight. We're gonna have to
How many?
do a
Grant's
quick
gotta
dinner
eat
break.
That's true.
What would you say? 2, 3 more questions?
two.
Sure.
Two.
Two questions.
Oh man, I have so many more. That's too bad. Let me pick a couple of good
Put
ones.
it over to
filter,
the
man.
Let's
next.
see the
week.
PvP ones.
All
and
right,
get
this
some-
one doesn't
get some
count.
experience.
Anti-Guardian one
Yeah,
says
yeah.
should have to delete all his guardians since he didn't get the tattoo in time. Yes.
Yes.
What?
What?
Should Holtz have to delete all his guardians
Oh.
since he didn't get the tattoo in time?
Oh yeah.
Since
Yeah, it's
he
been-
is not here to answer that, I'm going to go with 100% correct. Yes.
Since he cannot defend himself, absolutely.
Yes.
That's how it works.
Maybe even sacrifice a magic card too for a good cause.
Just
Yeah.
for an extra. Yeah. Yeah. Any PvP questions in there, Briar?
No, we have gotten through all the Destiny questions and are on to the stupid
Oh.
stuff.
We're on to the second course.
Yes.
Yeah. Takarito says, how many times do you smile? Did a smile of stupid pure joy cross your face when you found something on Disney Plus you weren't expecting?
Oh,
Did anybody sign up
lot.
for Disney Plus?
Hell yes.
I haven't looked
Yeah.
yet, but
I haven't
haven't
looked at it
looked
yet
yet.
either.
You
I
signed
looked
up
at it,
though?
Not yet.
God, I watched Mandalorian like as soon as it came out.
I
it
want
good?
3 episodes. I want to be able to binge at least 3 episodes right off the
Been
bat.
busy building
is-
roads and
Yeah,
Is Mandalorian
exactly.
good?
using
Yes,
force.
it is good.
No
Yes,
break from
very
building
high
roads,
budget.
Hefty. How dare you?
Well,
I have a question.
From
I have a
road.
question.
go for it.
What's everyone's favorite TV show?
Ooh,
I've
like
been
of all
enjoying
time.
The Watchmen.
All time.
Or like on right now or all time? That's impossible. Breaking
All
Bad,
time.
though. It's probably it.
Breaking Bad is mine
I
too. Breaking
I
Bad.
was about to say Breaking Bad.
I'd
like,
have to go with The
absolutely one of my
Office. I feel
faves.
like I can rewatch
The
Office
was really
up
good.
until the
Does
last
anime
season.
count?
Yeah, I don't want to watch
TV
Breaking Bad
show?
over and over again like I want to watch The Office, but
Yeah.
it was just so fucking good.
Yeah,
And-
I'm actually watching Breaking Bad for the second time now. My
Me
roommate's never
too.
seen it.
Dude, I'm doing the exact same thing right now. I'm on season 4, but it's because I want to watch El Camino, and I was like, you know what? I'll just rewatch the whole
Yeah.
thing, and I was like,
Mhm.
But
I
yeah,
forgot.
instead of watching this 3-hour movie,
So
I'll
good.
watch 50 hours of movie.
yeah.
Yeah, you got to get the refresher. Yeah, you can't
You
just
do.
watch the last season. No.
If you respect it, man, that's
Yep.
how it works.
There's
Yeah, well,
there has
Watts, you
been
can-
a
you can
glut
choose
of
anime. That is
amazing
fine.
TV
Okay, thank you.
for like the last decade. Like we've never had TV like this before.
True. Yeah, no, it's
And
amazing.
even right now, like in this post Game of Thrones world, like post Game of Thrones was like a touchstone for everybody. Everybody you knew watched that show, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless they were weird.
Right? Too broke for HBO
Or they
Go?
were trying to be too cool
Or-
to watch Game of Thrones.
Either too broke,
too broke for HBO.
or didn't know anybody with a password to log in for free.
Yeah.
Like how could they?
But like even since that show went off the air, it's like I've been enjoying the new Watchmen TV series. I've been enjoying what's the Golden Compass one? That's pretty good. The first couple
That's
episodes
Dark
were pretty
Materials?
good.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I heard about that. I wanted to check that out.
Watts, that show that you and me both like on Hulu, The Handmaid's Tale.
Yep,
Handmaid's Tale.
Yep.
That
Handmaid's
is a
Tale.
fantastic show.
It's really good.
I mean, there's just so many great shows out there. Like Mandalorian episode 1 comes out, and I'm like, yeah, I'll wait till there's like 3 or 4 episodes so I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second episode comes out tonight in about an hour.
Yeah.
From
so by the way,
live
apparently, though, but to speak towards Disney Plus as a whole, I've heard the exact reactions. Like all people are like, "Oh my god, have you seen whatever?" They have Black Cauldrons in there, Willow's in there, blah blah.
Oh man,
Marvel
Willow.
stuff's
Oh my
in
god,
there.
Memes was streaming that just like a few hours ago. Willow was on the screen.
Willow?
I was like, Willow,
Oh,
what?
On
This is
top
amazing.
of that, apparently,
beer.
I have to double check this, but I think every main Star Wars is in 4K and I think HDR, except
Do they
for
have the
Last Jedi? But that's not available anywhere.
Yeah.
And I've been waiting for that stuff.
Do they
and
have
so
the
it's-
Han shoots first Star Wars in it?
I don't know which one.
That shit that was only available on VHS. It's never been available since.
Ooh.
Don't know.
If
They-
they add that, that'd be
redone
great.
Star Wars.
They have
That would be great.
No, they don't have that. You're saying before the special editions?
Yeah,
No, those are
they don't
gone
have
in
that, huh?
Oh,
three.
yeah.
No, there's no like that'd be like if they have Star Wars.
I still got them
Christmas
on
special.
VHS.
Okay.
I don't have a VCR anymore.
Have
Yeah.
you guys seen Star Wars Christmas special? And do you have it?
I don't
I have
own
a-
it, but I've seen it. I
Yeah,
saw
I
it
have a
live when I was
VHS
a
copy
kid.
somewhere.
wow.
I gotta
Nice.
find it. And it's probably melting
Yeah.
in a box somewhere.
So Disney Plus, I was very excited. I didn't anticipate how excited I would be, but then I looked through the list and all the stuff, and they got new programming like Mandalorian, but also all this old stuff: Darkwing Duck, DuckTales, like
Yeah, they got
back.
the whole Fox catalog.
They got
like
all the Simpsons.
They got
and-
Simpsons,
30,
yeah,
30
which was
seasons.
unexpected.
Like holy crap, 30 seasons is a lot.
I will binge The Simpsons. I would be happy to do that. I love The
That would
Simpsons.
take you a month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Crazy.
It's a lot. So it's a lot of
entirely.
value. Also, they had 10. Well, no, was it 10 million subscribers in the first couple days?
Yeah,
People
first
have been
day.
dying to get this thing.
Yeah.
First
yeah,
day,
I'm
and it's
not
not even
surprised.
in Europe yet. It's
Did
not
anybody
out in Europe
cancel
yet.
anything to sign up for this? Like, did anybody trade one service for another? Because I did.
I didn't.
No, not
What did you
yet.
I cut
cancel
Showtime
Netflix?
off.
Will.
No, Showtime.
Showtime
okay.
could go if you're subscribing to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely not as good programming. We're
Sorry,
in
Showtime.
we're in an age of these streaming platforms financing fantastic content. It's
People are
Yeah.
now, they're putting focus on TV shows, which didn't really used to happen before. It was like all the budget would go into movies, and TV shows
Yeah.
could still be really good, but they wouldn't get the budget
Not
of a
this
movie.
good though.
Yeah,
They're
no,
so
they're
good now.
they're getting movie budget.
movie quality.
I wonder
now.
if this can last. Like, I wonder if like now that we have all these different streaming services, and like Apple's throwing money at TV shows, Disney's throwing money at TV shows, Netflix, Amazon, everybody's throwing these huge dollars. Like, can all of these people have enough subscribers to justify these huge outlays they're putting on these TV shows?
Yeah.
Apple TV Plus just came out too.
Yep.
I've been watching C, and that's a TV show.
It's a show, I guess you call it.
Hey, so,
Jason Momoa's in it. He was
Yeah?
in Stargate Atlantis. Remember that show? That was great.
I mean, he was in Game of Thrones.
Oh right,
Oh my gosh.
that lesser known show than Stargate Atlantis.
Well,
He's
that's
also Aquaman. Just saying.
yeah.
True.
But
Anyone cares?
I'm not trying to throw around insults. I'm not trying to
You're not?
shame
Oh,
Jason
I'm-
Momoa.
All right, guys. That is the episode.
All right.
Someone is dying to get some food right now. Someone said might be a
Friends
little.
Just
coming
say it,
around to the
Briar. We know
idea
you
of
gotta eat dinner.
eating.
It's
Someone
Briar.
might be a little frantic right now to eat some food. You know?
Now people are gonna blame me for the show.
No,
was
it's
too
Briar.
short.
What are you talking about?
No, we have a meeting after.
Briar's nervous about getting cooked into 3-star Michelin baby back braised Briar ribs.
That's right.
True.
That's
So-
Boy,
Sorry,
that
man.
even
It's
sounds
also-
good to me.
later hours for Vince. So you normally up this late? I don't remember what your
Me,
hours
yeah,
are.
night owl.
Is it normal? All right,
Night owl,
So you're
yeah.
fine.
There you go.
We're good to go. Yeah,
Awesome. All right.
go all night.
All right.
Thank you very much, guys, for watching episode number 162 of DCP Live. Vince, thank you very much for being on the show. Where can people find you out in the world on, where do you stream? Where's your Twitter? All those socials.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me out. Really appreciate it. Enjoy spending the time and talking with everyone. Where you guys can find me, I stream on Twitch every now and then, maybe a few times a week. Same as my name, I think, on the title right now is Nferraiu, Nferraiu. That's also my Twitter. that's where I am.
Awesome.
So if you ever want to find me, watch some PvP gameplay, I'll be there.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Fran?
You can catch me right here on Twitch TV/FM3_. I'll be playing some Fallen Order tonight. I think. Yeah, new Star Wars. Looking forward to it.
Briar?
Briar Rabbit. I'll also be playing Fallen Order. I'll be doing that tomorrow. I'll be streaming Fallen Order. Surprise, surprise. I actually remember how to hit the live button on the stream, but I can't wait to play.
That stream key still active?
That's a good question.
I am Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me building roads, saving humanity, one road and zip line at a time. Just look for Miss 5000 Watts on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube.
And I am Tefty Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. Catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft, where I will be trying to figure out if I'm going to continue to save humanity or break into Jedi Order, Fallen Order.
Do both.
Do you want to save the Earth or the universe?
That's a good question.
You want to do both.
God. How much of a story hit is it going to happen?
What's more important, the needs of the many or the needs of the many, many, many?
Damn. It's tough. That's really tough. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Shout out to all our Patreons. Shout out to everyone watching live and also on the podcast syndication and also on YouTube for all those comments that we may or may not read. Appreciate all the support, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.